Chapter 934. Commander Yang, save me. This kid is going to rebel. He's going to rebel. Immediately, someone cried out bitterly, feeling that the shadow of death was finally leaving. Yang Pajuan looked at General Liu, who had already stopped breathing, then looked at Minister Chen, who had his leg broken, and the anger in his eyes burned even brighter. What are you doing? Since when did you have the right to be so lawless here in the Yang family? For a moment, the scene quietened down. Vice Minister Liu Bingshuan's expression changed. He walked forward and said with a smile, "Commander, why did you suddenly return to the capital?" Seeing that it was Liu Bingshuan, Yang Pajuan's dark face revealed a faint smile. "Minister Liu, long time no see. The situation at the front line has been stabilized, and there won't be any major problems for the time being. I heard that there was a change in my family, so I came back to take a look. I didn't expect that there would be a huge change." As he said that, Yang Pajuan looked at Yang Cheng coldly. "Commander, don't be impatient. There's a reason for this." Liu Bingshuan was extremely biased towards Yang Cheng in his heart. These neutrals or opponents, not to mention that it was against their interests, in his eyes, they were the vermin of the Republic. Although it was a bit reckless for Yang Cheng to kill them like this, it was exactly what they wanted. Therefore, of course, he wanted to speak up for Yang Cheng. "Reason?" Yang Pajuan sneered. "A brat who hasn't even grown his hair yet. Does he really think that he's some great person? Could it be that anyone who enters this family can become a member of the Yang family?" From the beginning to the end, Yang Cheng ignored Yang Pajuan, as if he didn't hear anything. Yang Cheng continued to stand in front of the camera, shaking hands with the official, and said with a smile, "This person, you haven't said whether you support or not." The official opened his mouth and looked at Yang Cheng in fear, then carefully looked at Yang Pajuan and said with a guilty look in his eyes, "Commander Yang, look at this." Yang Pajuan was furious. Yang Cheng didn't even take him seriously. He immediately shouted, "Let go of Minister Jean. Get out. Who do you think you are? How dare you do something like this in a Yang family? If you do this again, don't blame me for being ruthless." The atmosphere suddenly became tense. Yin San Yang stood in a corner, her eyes flashing with anticipation. Suddenly, the murderous aura that filled the entire hall suddenly thickened. Yang Cheng's entire figure seemed to have sunk into darkness. The harmless smile on his face dissipated and was replaced by a kind of dense coldness that came from the depths of an ancient pond. "Fall out? Heartless?" Yang Cheng sneered. "You mean like this?" A tragic scream came from Minister Jean, who was in Yang Cheng's hand. Yang Cheng used a little force in his hand, and the hand that was not open was like a piece of plasticine that had been squeezed into a weird shape, turning into a pile of rotten flesh. "How dare you, Minister Jean!" Yang Pajuan's blood boiled as he roared. "What are you doing? Are you trying to rebel?" Yang Chen sneered and looked at Minister Jean with a bone-chilling gaze. "If you surrender to me, I won't kill you. If you ask for help from that guy again, I'll break your neck. Oh yeah, if he speaks up for you and says something I don't like, I'll kill you too," Yang Cheng said as he swept his gaze across the rest of the opposition. "The same goes for all of you. Now you have a choice. Are you going to cooperate with me and finish this show? Or are you going to ask that guy for help?" The domineering pressure made it hard for everyone to breathe. The guards, and even the soldiers that Yang Pajuan had brought along, felt a chill in their hearts. As for the retired soldiers of the Yang family, they all looked a little fearful, but at the same time, there was a look of admiration in their eyes. They had only felt this awe-inspiring pressure when Yang Gongming was angry. Although Yang Pajuan and Yang Lai often went in and out of this family, they had never had such an attitude. No wonder the old marshal had asked this young man to return to the family and acknowledge his ancestors, with the intention of passing on power. The guard of the Yang family all understood a little more. Although it looked peaceful on the international stage, in reality, wars at the borders of the sea were happening almost every day, but the people and the media would not know about it. These soldiers of the Yang family were all veterans who had been tempered by gunfire on the battlefield and had returned home. To them, These fat officials who only knew how to steal the country's military funds from behind the scenes would not even blink if they were all killed. Therefore, Yang Cheng's thunderous violence and decisiveness in killing were greatly admired by these veterans who had crawled out of bloody corpses. Yang Pejun took a deep breath, took a pistol from the hands of one of the guards, and pointed it at Yang Cheng. "Don't panic, everyone. Everything will be fine with me here, you bastard. Get out of this family," Yang Pejun said. Yang Cheng sneered. "Gun? Bullets? Are you so naive to think that these things will work on me?" As he spoke, Yang Cheng did not hesitate and pulled his knee up. Crack! Crack! With the sound of his chest shattering, Minister Jin's entire body was bent like a soft shrimp because his chest was pressed against it. Puffed. Minister Jin's eyes widened in disbelief as he spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. All the organs in his chest, including his lungs and heart, were crushed. Not even the gods could save him. Yang Cheng casually kicked the body back to the feet of Minister Jin's assistant. He sneered. "I've already said, if I don't like what I hear, you will continue to die. This is the first one. Do you still want to ask for help?" This time, even the soles of everyone's feet were cold. Everyone who stood opposite felt like they were lambs at the mercy of Yang Cheng, who could be killed on the spot at any time because of his mood swings. Yang Pejun stood still as if he had been petrified. He held the gun in his hand, but did not move at all. He wanted to shoot, but he knew very well that even if he did, he would not be able to kill this devil-like young man. Because a long time ago, he had completely failed. Firing a bullet would only show the incompetence of this father of his. Yang Chun completely ignored the gun that was pointed at him. With an evil smile, he continued to ask, "Who else is there? If you choose to die, then step forward. If not, then line up and shake hands with me." In an instant, everyone rushed to Yang Cheng's side with smiles on their faces. Even Minister Chun, who had a broken leg, rushed to Yang Cheng's side with the help of his assistant and squeezed out a smile that was uglier than crying. "Young Master Yang, we all support you in inheriting the Yang family's throne. That's right. Our Zhao family is willing to follow young Master Yang's lead. Please don't be stingy." Minister Zhao pleaded. "Huaxia needs a wise young man like you. Eunuch Yang, your vision is indeed extraordinary. Young Master Yang Cheng, my daughter is very pretty. Why don't I introduce her to you?" The dramatic change in the situation caused Liu Bingxuan and the other direct descendants of the Yang family to burst into laughter. Not only did they feel elated, but they also accepted Yang Gongming's choice from the bottom of their hearts. Standing outside the door, Yang Pajuan had a solemn expression on his face. There was a look of unwillingness, disdain, and confusion on his face. He couldn't believe what was happening in front of him. He hurried home, intending to prevent something absurd from happening. But now, his appearance was a joke. No one took him seriously. Even those who opposed the Yang family now supported Yang Cheng and became the synonym of a Yang family. This was only his first day back in Beijing. Among those who opposed him, some were former students of Zheng Mao, some were relatives of the Liu family, and some were collateral relatives of the Ning family. Without a doubt, these people weren't baseless rumors. They were making things up out of nothing. They came here to pick a fight with Yang Chun because of their dissatisfaction and pent-up anger. But now, they were begging for mercy like a dog wagging its tail. Yang Pajuan couldn't bear to watch the scene of a bunch of clowns trying to put on a show with Yang Cheng. He bypassed the crowd in the front hall and came to the corner where Yin Sanyang was. "Aunt Yin, I want to see my father." Yang Pajuan felt that he had to change Yang Gongming's mind. Yin Sanyang seemed to be prepared for this. She pursed her lips and smiled. Then, "Commander, please invite me over." Seeing that Yang Pajuan left with Yin Sanyang, Yang Cheng, who was busy shaking hands with the fence-sitters, only glanced at them before he continued with his recording. Chapter 935. While Yang Cheng was playing a reversal with a group of opponents in the hall, in the wing of the Yang family's backyard, Lin Ruoshi was quietly staying with her mother-in-law in Guo Xiuhua's bedroom. Although Guo Xiuhua and Yang Pajuan had a common bedroom, they also had their own separate rooms. After all, both of them had their own independent businesses, and they had to store a lot of things. At this moment, Guoshuahua let Lin Ruashi sit on her hard agarwood bed, while she was carefully looking for something in a large, exquisite wardrobe made of pure wood from the old era. Lin Ruashi was a little nervous as she looked around the room. Most of the furniture in the room was antique and elegant. "Mom, do you want me to help you? What are you looking for?" "I found it." Guoshuahua happened to get up, holding a small square box wrapped in red cloth in her hand. "You don't need to help me. I can find this thing. It's too low." As she spoke, Guoshuahua sat next to Lin Ruashi happily. After removing the red cloth, she carefully opened the exquisite wooden box made of sandalwood. Lin Ruashi's eyes lit up. She opened her thin lips in surprise and couldn't move her eyes away. On the silver satin, a jade bracelet quietly lay in the center. The material of this jade bracelet was like jade, but it was more crystal clear than ordinary jade. It was so green that it seemed like green liquid could drip from it. What made Lin Ruashi irresistible was that on this bracelet, there were 2 phoenix totems engraved with gorgeous carvings. The lifelike phoenix seemed to fly out at any time, and its tail feathers were wrapped around the jade bracelet, forming a harmonious ring layout. "How is it? Are you deeply attracted to it as soon as you see it?" Guoshuahua smiled with satisfaction. Lin Ruashi woke up with a start. She blushed, but she couldn't refuse. She bit her thin lips and nodded in agreement. How could a normal woman resist this kind of jewelry? "There's nothing to be shy about. I was the same back then," Guoshuahua said with nostalgia. "That year?" "Yeah." Guoshuahua caressed the jade bracelet and sighed with emotion. This jade bracelet is called the Fengxiang bracelet. It's made from the king of the most precious jade, the imperial green jade. Every eldest daughter-in-law of the Yang family would be responsible for taking care of this jade bracelet. In other words, it was the symbol of the mistress of the Yang family. 20 years ago, when I just got married, my mother-in-law, who is also your grandmother, gave this bracelet to me. The Yang family has a rule that before giving birth to a child, the first wife has to wear this Fengxiang bracelet to bring good luck to the family. Hearing this, Lin Ruashi understood. Her eyes were filled with shyness and surprise. "Mom, yes, that's right. Now, it's time for you to take care of this Fengxiang bracelet." Guoshuahua chuckled and took out the bracelet from the box. She pulled over one of Lin Ruashi's slender hands and put on her slowly. Lin Ruashi only felt that the imperial green jade was delicate and smooth to the touch, and that kind of cool touch made her feel as if there was green grass brushing past her wrist. "I heard from your grandmother that this Fengxiang bracelet has been through countless generations. It said that this bracelet itself has some special functions. However, I don't know about it because of the confusion. I only know that this jade bracelet can calm one's mind, and it's good for regulating one's blood. But because it's too precious and priceless, I haven't worn it since I gave birth to Lyre," Guoshuahua said. Lin Ruashi nodded in understanding. With her financial resources, she could buy any jeweler she wanted. She could even afford the crown of the Queen of England in theory. However, this kind of symbolic and unparalleled ancestral treasure could not be lost in the slightest. Lin Ruashi was happy to have it on her hand, but it also felt a little heavier. For the first time, Lin Ruashi realized that she seemed to have married into a stressful family. In Yang Gongming's study room, the old man's afternoon nap was interrupted by Yang Pejuan, who was brought in by Yin Sanyang. "Dad." Yang Pejuan looked at the sleepy old man and said solemnly, "I'm sorry to disturb your nap, but I really have to come in now." Yang Gongming sighed and got up from the bed. He took the ginseng tea from Yin Sanyang and drank 2 mouthfuls to moisten his throat. He then said, "You came all the way back from Jiangnan's military district. Why would I care if you interrupted my afternoon nap?" "Dad, don't say that. I can't take care of you when I'm away all the time," Yang Pejuan said sincerely. Yang Gongming chuckled. "Shuahua's back recently made me feel a little more comfortable. You're just adding to my troubles by staying at home. It's better for you to return to the Jiangnan military base." Yang Pejuan frowned slightly when he heard the words Chihuahua. His eyes flashed with longing, but he immediately said, "Dad, I want to talk to you about that Yang Cheng." "That Yang Cheng?" He's my grandson, your son. Why you sound so distant? Yang Gongming asked. That's not the point, Yang Pejuan said in a low voice. Dad, you don't know this, but that kid has already started a massacre in the front hall. He's made a mess of things. Oh, Yang Gongming smiled with great interest. Tell me the details. Yang Pejuan immediately told him what he saw. Unexpectedly, Yang Gongming laughed out loud. Good, good, good. This kid is more courageous than I thought. He's indeed a descendant of a Yang family. Haha. Dad, you're really letting him return a clan? Yang Pejuan said in disbelief. Yang Gongming nodded in agreement. Not really, but I've already asked him to kowtow in the ancestral hall. He's already acknowledged his ancestors. Yang Pejuan couldn't help but turn pale when he heard this news. Dad, Yang Pejuan's tone became heavier. What are you doing to me, and Lai? You clearly know that Yang Chung and I don't get along at all, and you're still fighting to the death with Lai Er? Yet you're letting him return to the Yang family? Then if he contradicts me in the future and fights with Lai Er, whose side will you stand on? Yang Gongming turned around without changing his expression. Pejuan, it's not that I'm biased as a father. What I want is to think for the entire Yang family, for the future of my Yang family. I'm your father, Lai Er's grandfather. Naturally, I dote on you guys. However, even if the two of you were added together, you're not as suitable as Yang Chung to take over this family business. Yang Pejuan's face alternated between green and white. I don't believe it. Dad, to put it bluntly, he's just violent and cruel. I don't see any benefits for the Yang family at all. Could it be that killing people indiscriminately can really ensure the peaceful development of the Yang family? Yang Gongming wasn't angry and leisurely said, I don't care if you believe it or not. If you're not convinced, you can go and fight with Yang Chung. In our Yang family, there have always been capable people in high positions. Whether it's your real swords and spears or your conspiracies, this old man has opened one eye and closed the other, but I've already seen a lot. I've already told Lai Er that he's my grandson, but so is Yang Chung, and there's only one Yang family. Whoever I want to pass it to depends on who stands at the end. Suddenly, Yang Pejuan clenched his fists, his eyes red with anger. Dad, so you're saying you've never considered me? Yang Gongming tacitly agreed and didn't say a word. I'm your only son. Yang Pejuan shouted unwillingly. Yin San Yang, who was standing at the side, couldn't bear it, but she shook her head and didn't say anything. Yang Gongming thought for a while, then turned around and said, I'm afraid you've wanted to ask this question for many years, right? Yang Pejuan stood there, his eyes filled with affirmation. Fine. Yang Gongming smiled helplessly and said, I wanted to bring it with me to my coffin, but since you've asked, I'll tell you why I haven't handed over the real power to you. As he said that, Yang Gongming waved at Yang Pejuan and signaled him to walk to the corner of the wall. Next to the wall, there was a long scroll of green water, green mountains, and boats hanging high up. It was the most eye-catching, and there were already many famous seals at the inscription. It was obviously an antique painting. Seeing Yang Gongming pointing at the scroll, Yang Pejuan's brows were full of loneliness and doubt, waiting for Yang Gongming to give him an answer that would make him give up. Chapter 9:36. Pejuan, what do you think of this painting? Yang Gongming asked. Yang Pejuan was puzzled, but he still looked at the painting carefully. The brushwork is elegant, but the layout is meticulous. The details have their own style. From the colors and the inscription, it's at least a masterpiece from the Song and Ming dynasties. It's a good painting, Yang Pejuan said. Yang Gongming smiled. Not bad. To be able to determine the era of this painting from the colors and the inscription, it seems like you've put in a lot of effort. Father told me to dabble in a wide range of things, and I didn't dare to forget, Yang Pejuan said seriously. Yang Gongming nodded. Yes, you've always listened to me, and I'm glad. Yang Pejuan felt that it was strange, but he didn't ask. Do you see the fisherman in the painting? Yang Gongming asked. Yang Pejuan looked at the fisherman with a few strokes and said, This fisherman, is there something special about his brushwork? Yang Gongming didn't answer, but asked, Do you know who this fisherman is? Yang Pejuan thought about it and frowned for a while and said, Father, this question is quite mysterious, Forgive me for not being able to answer it. It's you, Yang Gongming said indifferently. Me? Yang Pajuan was stunned, and he couldn't believe what he heard. Yang Gongming nodded and sighed. Pajuan, do you know that this painting is actually a fake one that I asked an old friend to make? The real one isn't this one. Yang Pajuan widened his eyes, but, Father, didn't you say? I said that it's good that you can judge from the colors and the inscription, but I didn't say that your judgment is correct, Yang Gongming said with a smile. Yang Pajuan was stunned again. Indeed, Yang Gongming did not say whether he was right or wrong. Pajuan, I'm glad that you listened to me. But do you know how much I look forward to the day when you don't listen to me? That way, I'll be even happier. Yang Gongming sincerely patted his son's shoulder. Yang Pajuan was at a loss and asked blankly, why? A son who listens to his father is a good son, but he is definitely not an outstanding son. If he only listened to his father's words, it would be tantamount to the son not walking the path he had chosen. Since he was walking on the same path as his father, what was the difference between him and his father? What effect can it have on the future of a family? Yang Gongming said earnestly, You've always listened to me since you were young, and you're very precocious. You've always regarded yourself as the successor of the Yang family, the eldest son and eldest grandson of the Yang family, the only successor. In your heart, you want to be the most outstanding. You have to let the people outside see the dignity of our Yang family. You must set an example and treat everything with strict self-discipline. Yang Pajuan suddenly raised his head. Is that wrong? Father, is that the reason why you don't want to acknowledge me? No, that's right, Yang Gongming said with a smile. If there's anything wrong with you, it's that you've set your life on a fixed track before it even started. Yang Pajuan listened blankly, his face turning pale. You've never thought of disobeying me. You've never thought that my choice is wrong. You even sent your own flesh and blood, Yang Chung, to the orphanage without waiting for my decision. Do you think that the Yang family will disregard everything for the family's interests? Father, Yang Pajuan gritted his teeth. Could it be that, if it was you, you wouldn't have done that? Yang Gongming smiled bitterly. Yes, I would have done that. Then why? But that's wrong. Yang Pajuan was stunned. Yang Gongming let out a long sigh and said, You've indeed made the same choice as me. However, that doesn't mean that you and I are both right. Do you know that after losing my eldest grandson, I've been waking up in the middle of the night with nightmares for the past 20 years? I kept asking myself, if I didn't abandon Yang Chung back then, would I really not be able to get through this? If the Yang family that I'm in charge of needs to sacrifice a newborn baby to be preserved, then what kind of patriarch am I? This loud question made Yang Pajuan stagger back a step. His face alternated between red and white, and his eyes were filled with complex emotions. Yin Sanyang, who was standing not far away, wiped her tears. Yang Gongming's voice was hoarse, and he smiled bitterly. Pajuan, do you know how much I wish that you would come to me bravely and tell me that you have to protect that child, to let that child appear in our Yang family's genealogy? Even if I had rejected you at that time, I think I would have handed over this family to you with peace of mind. Because even if I had to sacrifice my own child for the sake of the bigger picture, if I tried my best, it would be completely different from giving up completely. If I don't even have the thought of going against the family's rules, then wouldn't I be controlled by the rules instead of controlling them? Father, Yang Pajuan's face was filled with disappointment, and he didn't know what to say. Yang Gongming turned around and said to the painting, I said that you're the fisherman in this painting, because in your eyes, there's only that fixed river and that mountain range. You wouldn't think that this world is just a painting, and that it's not even a treasure, but a fake. I asked you to be knowledgeable so that you can broaden your mind. Don't be obsessed with your identity as a member of the Yang family, and don't be obsessed with those dispensable obsessions. But you misunderstood my thoughts and thought that I really wanted you to study those antique paintings. That's neglecting the essentials. Yang Pajuan clenched his fists, and his body trembled. Father, does Yang Chung not care about those things? If that's the case, why did he return to the Yang family? Yang Gongming continued. Yang Chung is different from you and me. How so? Yang Gongming smiled and said, "For Yang Cheng, in this world there are no so-called rules, no so-called iron laws." In his eyes, a painting is a painting, and the world is just a playground. He looks down on this world, and in his eyes, those who are his enemies will be killed, and those who are good to him will be left alive. He doesn't consider whether this is in line with his reputation or his identity. Everything he does is to follow his heart and not the rules of this world. As he said that, Yang Gongming pointed at the fisherman in the painting and said, "You are a fisherman sailing between the mountains and rivers." Yang Chun, on the other hand, is just like us, standing outside the picture, watching everything unfold as an outsider. The reason why I didn't give the position of clan head to you, but was willing to give it to Yang Cheng, is because what you and I failed to do, Yang Cheng has done. He only killed people indiscriminately, bloody and cruel. Father, how dare you speak of him in such a condescending manner? Yang Pejuan questioned unwillingly. Yang Gongming shook his head and chuckled. Don't forget, we the Yang family are soldiers. In the world of soldiers, we are either allies or enemies. There is no neutrality in this world, only interests. The politicians in the government can choose to negotiate and then negotiate. But for us, we can only kill and be killed. The Yang family doesn't need a clan head to protect the Yang family. That will only wear down our courage and waste time. What the Yang family needs is a clan head who will wield the butcher's knife for the family, so that the blade of the Yang family will always be stained with the smell of blood. Yang Pejuan stared at his father for a long time. In the end, a trace of disappointment flashed past Yang Pejuan's eyes. He smiled bitterly and said, "Father, I still can't accept it. Am I not your son? Even if I can't meet your requirements, you still taught me that, didn't you? That's why I never dare to tell you all of this." Yang Gongming said painfully, "It's because I can't escape the blame. That's why I didn't dare to hurt your pride. But since you've already asked so persistently, I have to give you a frank answer. Pejuan, although with your personality, you're destined to be unable to become the clan head of the Yang family. But Father has never looked down on or disliked you. You didn't disappoint your mother who left you. It's me who let you and your mother down." "Mother," Yang Pejuan sneered. "Ever since I can remember, I don't remember having such a woman." "Father, if this is your decision, then I have nothing to say. I'm a useless son, because I won't reject your choice. But I have my own insistence. At least, I won't acknowledge Yang Cheng as the clan head." After saying that, Yang Pejuan turned around and was about to leave the room. But just as he was about to leave, he saw Gua Shuahua looking at him with a complicated expression on her face. Chapter 9:37. In the front hall of the Yang family, the group of officials who had finished their act had already fled with their tails between their legs. Of course, to put it nicely, they said that they were busy with work and would visit again next time. The two who were already dead were taken away by their guards and assistants. Although they were all high-ranking officials of the country, they weren't characters who often appeared on TV. Their sudden deaths would only cause a big reaction within the department. As for the reaction of the society, they could just make up some random excuses. As for their families, if they weren't afraid of death, they could come and look for Yang Cheng. Yang Cheng, on the other hand, instructed the servants who were recording to prepare several copies of the irrefutable evidence so that the valuable information wouldn't be lost. Actually, Yang Cheng believed that after today, there wouldn't be anyone stupid enough to come and provoke him, especially the remaining members of the Zheng family and the Lu family. Even if they wanted to, they probably wouldn't have the guts. After watching the show, Lu Bingxuan and the rest walked up and surrounded Yang Cheng. "Young Master Yang Cheng, you're really daring. Old Lu admires you," Lu Bingxuan said with a smile. They had always supported the Yang family. Although Yang Cheng's method seemed crude, it was flawless. Of course, they didn't have any other thoughts. They were just happy. After today's incident, they would definitely be a cut above the opposition and neutral officials in the future. Yang Cheng didn't stand on ceremony and chuckled. "If you admire me, then give me more benefits. Recently, I've been busy with my wife's wedding and have spent quite a bit. Since you guys want me to protect you, you should at least show me some form of gratitude." As he said that, Yang Chung rubbed his fingers together. His meaning was obvious. Everyone was embarrassed. They had never seen a master who stole money like this. Lu Bingxuan and Shan Shan smiled and said, of course. But, young Master Chun, forgive me for being straightforward. Young Master Chun, don't tell me you're really going to kill the family of the person you just killed along with them? Yang Qing asked back, why wouldn't I? Hiss. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. They felt a chill run down their spines again. Young Master Chun, this? I'm afraid it's not appropriate. After all, that's equivalent to the annihilation of the family. It will cause a sensation and chaos in society. A family representative consoled. Yang Chung had a conflicted look on his face. But if I said I would kill them, but didn't kill their entire family, wouldn't it seem like I'm not trustworthy? Trust. Trust my ass. Everyone thought to themselves that these were words that only the devil would say. However, they did not dare to offend this temperamental murderer. Young Master Chun, you can't think that way, Lu Bingxuan said. If you don't kill their entire family, it will only show off your noble character and unquestionable integrity. If you don't haggle over every little thing with them, it will show that you are broad-minded. This will make us admire you even more, won't it? Everyone hurriedly nodded. This was no joke. With Yang Cheng's craziness, if he wanted to kill the women and children, who could stop him? Yang Cheng hesitated for a while, then pretended to be determined and said, sigh, all right, I will respect your persuasion. No matter what, you are all members of the Yang family. I still have to do you a favor. Everyone's heart skipped a beat, and they secretly laughed bitterly. All right, so they were used. Of course, Yang Cheng would not really cause a huge uproar by killing a group of helpless women and children. However, even with such a decision, he still had to take advantage of them to show how much he respected these direct descendants of the Yang family. However, everyone was smart, so they tacitly let it go. Since the matter had been resolved perfectly, everyone had to return. After all, they had official duties to attend to and could not stay for long. After sending everyone off, Yang Cheng heaved a sigh of relief. Socializing wasn't his forte. Looking at the time, it was already past 2 in the afternoon. After Yang Pajuan entered the backyard, he didn't come out. Yang Cheng couldn't help but feel uncomfortable in his heart. A trace of gloominess flashed across his eyes as he strode towards the backyard. At the same time, there weren't many students coming and going on campus at Peking University. Under the dense shade of trees, many female students dressed in cool clothes walked by with books in their arms. As they chatted and laughed, they were filled with a youthful aura. At this time, a graceful and enchanting figure wearing a red lace frilly dress, revealing a deep ravine on her chest, walked through the campus. This beautiful woman wore a pair of sunglasses, a beige lace sun hat, and black high heels with crystal luster. Her skin was fair and translucent. With a mature charm and a youthful appearance, it was impossible to see through this woman's age. After the woman bypassed the school's business library, she walked to an independent business student office building. This was a retreat place for the school to focus on training students. During this holiday, almost no one came here. However, in the innermost office on the 3rd floor, a young man who was immersed in a book and constantly recording important information was an exception. Knock, knock, knock. There was a knock on the door. The young man in a white shirt frowned. Someone actually came at this time, which made him a little puzzled and quite unhappy. There were so many empty offices here. Why did they have to come to this place? However, the student still obediently walked to the door and opened it. The moment the door opened, the student standing at the door was instantly stimulated by a red figure in front of him. Then, he subconsciously opened his eyes wide. You? Why, little cripple, it's me. Do you think it's so scary? The woman in the red shirt took off the brim hat and smoothed her soft black hair. On her face that was as smooth as a young girl's, there was no trace of age. However, her facial features were extremely clear. Luo Suishan. It turned out to be the dead Luo Suishan. The little cripple, who was now Wen Tao, who had been sent to Peking University by Ning Guangyao, was like a raging sea in his heart. It was hard to describe. A woman who had already died with his own eyes was now standing in front of him, alive and talking to him. If Wen Tao had not been a wandering beggar for many years, he might not have been able to stand. Luo Tsuishan's incomparably young appearance made her look especially glamorous. Paired with a red dress, she was simply charming. Especially the mature and flirtatious characteristics of her young and delicate body. It was especially attractive. However, Wen Tao knew there was definitely something wrong with this woman. Luo Tsuishan strolled into the office with a relaxed expression. She threw the bag in her hand and stretched lazily. She turned around and looked at Wen Tao, who was behind her, and said with a sweet smile, "Little beggar, why are you still in a daze? Are you so excited to see me that you don't speak?" Wen Tao swallowed his saliva and took a deep breath. After many deep emotions flashed through his eyes, he turned his face around. He already looked simple and honest, and quite excited. "Why is it you? I always thought you had already left." As Wen Tao spoke, his voice was filled with tears, as if he was about to choke. There was some pity in Luo Tsuishan's eyes. She walked forward and spread her arms without hesitation. Her soft skin touched Wen Tao's neck. Wen Tao subconsciously leaned against Luo Tsuishan's chest. His face was firmly pressed against Luo Tsuishan's full and perky chest. "I'm sorry, I made you worry." Luo Tsuishan caressed Wen Tao's hair. "I almost died too, but God wasn't so cruel I still survived." Wen Tao asked shakily, "Where did you go? I missed you so much." Luo Tsuishan blushed. "I missed you too. Seriously, we just met, and you're already saying such things." As if she had been reborn, along with her youthful appearance, Luo Tsuishan no longer resisted coming into contact with this young man. Instead, she started to take the initiative to attack. Luo Tsuishan's legs naturally stuck close to Wen Tao's waist. Her ears and temples rubbed against each other as she whispered, "It's great that you're alive. I've always wondered if you would be killed by that heartless and unscrupulous fellow. But fortunately, you're fine. I knew that with your intelligence, you would definitely be able to escape. It's all good now, I'm back. I've already found someone who can help me take revenge." "Revenge? Who?" Wen Tao asked carefully. Luo Tsuishan didn't say anything. Instead, she pouted and said shyly, "You haven't seen me for so long. Don't you think I've become prettier?" Wen Tao looked at the woman with a flowery smile and a graceful figure. In his heart, he knew very clearly that this woman was an old woman in her 40s. He didn't know what kind of evil method she used to regain her youth. Enduring the evil feeling in his heart, Wen Tao knew that if he wanted to live and ensure his own safety, he definitely couldn't offend this woman. Moreover, he definitely couldn't offend the person who saved her. So, Wen Tao's eyes naturally revealed a strong blazing light. Both of his hands moved along Luo Tsuishan's smooth and plump legs. His hands caressed the scenery under Luo Tsuishan's skirt. "I want you," Wen Tao called out in a hoarse voice. Luo Tsuishan's charming eyes were like silk. "You're really impatient, but that's right. You were so rude to me in the past. Actually, I could be even more rude," Wen Tao said as he forcefully bit Luo Tsuishan's delicate red lips. Luo Tsuishan responded strongly. As their tongues intertwined, it was full of fragrance. Luo Tsuishan panted and said in a daze, "I've thought it through. The only one who truly cares and loves me is you. I've survived so that I can find you. Little cripple, I want to be your woman in the future." Wen Tao buried his head in the soft flesh of her voluptuous breasts. A hint of viciousness flashed across his eyes, but he didn't reveal it at all. He roughly pressed Luo Tsuishan onto the desk, and then he pressed his entire body on top of her. Not long after, a coquettish woman's moaning came from the office. Chapter 938. In the backyard of the Yang family, the lush plants were Yang Gongming's favorite treasures when he was free. All kinds of plants came from all over the world. Most of them were sent over to curry favor with Yang Gongming's officials and officers. However, they were evergreen throughout the year. On a winding path paved with black marble, Yang Pejuan and Guo Shuihua walked side by side. Both of them didn't speak and seemed to be deep in thought. Guo Shuihua lowered her eyes and remained silent for a long time. Finally, she said, "You asked me to come over but didn't say anything. If there's nothing else, I still need to prepare dinner. I won't be accompanying you." Yang Pejuan's eyes showed a hint of heartache. "Am I really that unwelcomed by you that you won't even accompany me for a while? I heard everything you said in the room." Guo Xuehua sneered. "Do you think I can pretend that nothing happened? Are you really not willing to forgive me because of Yang Cheng? You were the one who refused to accept Yang Cheng first." Guo Xuehua's lips trembled. "You and liar, it did so many terrible things to him. If it wasn't for Yang Cheng, do you think he would still be alive now? Although I lost him for more than 20 years, I know how my son is like. Do you really think he doesn't dare to kill you? He didn't bother with you time and time again, but you still scolded him like this. Do you think it's fair?" "Oomph." Yang Pejuan's face darkened. "I'm just stating the facts. Ever since he appeared, nothing good has happened to the Yang family. Not to mention the fact that I failed in the standing committee election. You and I don't get along well. Liar almost doesn't come home anymore. We were a good family, but because of a rascal who suddenly came back. You want me to accept him? Do you want me to pretend that nothing has happened and let a murderous demon into our Yang family?" "Shut up." Guo Xuehua widened her eyes in anger. "You don't have the right to criticize him. You're just a father who didn't do anything and pointed a gun at him. What right do you have to criticize Yang Cheng? Because of him, all my years of hard work went to waste. Why can't I scold him?" "You." Guo Xuehua looked at Yang Pejuan in disbelief. She shook her head and said, "I really regret that I still had hope in you. Sure enough, you've been possessed by the devil. You've been blinded by power. Has your heart turned to stone?" Yang Pejuan's face was livid. "I know what I want to do. Father has been deceived by that brat. I will never allow the Yang family to walk down the cliff. Xuehua, I came back today not only to see my father, but also to take you away." "Take me away?" Guo Xuehua took a step back subconsciously. "That's right," Yang Pejuan said sternly. "I can't let you stay with that bastard any longer. You're my wife, Lai Er's birth mother. That brat has nothing to do with you. Do you think a murderous devil like him would treat you as his mother? He's just using you to make people think that he cares about the Yang family. In fact, he just wants to use the Yang family to abuse Huaxia. If you continue to help him, you'll only hurt yourself in the end. So, you have to leave with me today. I'm taking you back to the Jiangnan military. I'm not leaving. You have no choice. I'm your husband." Yang Pejuan was almost roaring at the top of his lungs. Guo Xuehua shook her head forcefully. Her eyes were red. "If you want to leave, leave by yourself. I don't want to have anything to do with you anymore. That's not up to you." With that, Yang Pejuan walked forward and forcefully grabbed Guo Xuehua's wrist, dragging her out. Guo Xuehua tried her best to resist, but she was no match for Yang Pejuan. She screamed and screamed, but she still staggered out of the room. Some of the servants who passed by saw this scene. While they were shocked, they didn't dare to stop them. At this moment, a gloomy voice came from behind the two of them. "Let go." It was as if a huge shadow had suddenly engulfed their hearts. Even though Yang Pejuan was the commander of hundreds of thousands of troops, he still stood there abruptly. "Yang Cheng." Guo Xuehua turned around in surprise. Yang Cheng had just returned from the front hall to the backyard when he heard the quarrel. "I'll count to 3. If you don't let go, I'll do it for you," Yang Cheng said indifferently. The corner of Yang Pejuan's eyebrows twitched. He snorted, "What kind of place is this? How dare you behave so atrociously?" 3. Yang Cheng counted without hesitation. Yang Pejuan's face was as red as a pig's liver. He grabbed Guo Xuehua's hand and was so angry that it was trembling. 2. Don't be too arrogant. In my eyes, you're just... Yang Pejuan didn't have the chance to say anything else. Before he finished counting, Yang Cheng's body was already pulled up from the ground. Almost instantaneously, he moved to the side of Yang Pejuan and chopped at the man's arm with one hand. Crack, crack. The sound of bones breaking only reached the ears of the people around them a second after the scene. The sudden attack made Yang Pejuan's face stiffen. He couldn't react at all. Ugh! When he realized that his hand was broken from the middle of the bones, including his meridians, Yang Pejuan finally let out a muffled groan. Guo Xuehua only felt that the hand that was grabbing her had no strength left. She quickly pulled it out and dodged to the side. She didn't know why, but when she saw that Yang Pejuan was injured this time, Guo actually didn't have the slightest bit of worry and pity. Perhaps this man had hurt her time and time again, making her feel that she deserved it. You actually dared to hurt me? Yang Pejuan held his broken arm and shouted crazily. You evil creature! Your mouth stinks. Let me help you close it. Yang Cheng said indifferently. After that, he slapped Yang Pejuan's face with his palm. Smack! A crisp sound was heard. Before Yang Pejuan could finish his words, blood splattered from his mouth and nose. The effect doesn't seem obvious. Two more. The corner of Yang Cheng's mouth revealed a cruel smile. His eyes were like a cheetah in the jungle, staring at a prey that was like a doll. Smack, smack. Two consecutive slaps paralyzed Yang Pejuan's facial muscles, causing them to droop. Blood, swelling, and even a mixture of saliva and snot made his entire face lose its original appearance. Yang Pejuan could only let out heavy breathing. Finally, a look of fear flowed through his eyes. He hugged his hands and retreated in a sorry state. However, Yang Cheng grabbed his collar. Yang Cheng felt that it was dirty and wiped off the filth on Yang Pejuan's military uniform. He coldly glanced at him. I'm letting you live because killing you would be letting you off too easily. Aren't you very prideful? Aren't you very proud? Then I'll let you become a cripple, but I won't let you die. Of course, you can commit suicide, but that way, even if it's in the name, I won't be considered as patricide. Moreover, when people talk about Commander Yang Pejuan, they will only think of him as a coward. There was not the slightest expression on Yang Pejuan's face, but his eyes were dead. Yang Cheng's ruthlessness and cold-bloodedness made him feel regret from the bottom of his heart. If that was really the case, not only would he become a cripple, but he would also be begging for death. Guo, who was standing behind, saw all this and finally felt sad. Even if she was completely disappointed in this man, they had been married for more than 20 years. Yang Cheng, let's just forget about it. Guo couldn't bear to look at Yang Pejuan's ugly face. Yang Cheng threw Yang Pejuan to the ground and said solemnly, Mom, if you want to stop me, you should have left with him just now. If you choose to stay with me, don't worry about how I treat him. I don't know him anything. On the contrary, I've already tolerated too much. To me, those who treat me well can be my family even if they aren't related by blood. Those who have ill intentions towards me, even if they are my family, I will kill them without hesitation. But Guo still wanted to say something, but the voice from behind stopped her from continuing. Xuehua, that's enough. Let's do it. They saw Yang Gongming walking out of the study and accompanied by Yin Sanyang. They slowly walked to the front of the crowd, and the surrounding servants instinctively moved away. The old man's expression was calm, and it was hard to tell whether he was happy or angry. Glancing at his son who was begging for mercy on the ground, Yang Gongming felt a tinge of heartache. But more than that, he was suppressing his anger. Chapter 9:39. Xuehua, step back. Yang Cheng did the right thing. Yang Gongming walked to the middle of the three of them. He looked down at the dejected Yang Pejuan on the ground with a sorrowful expression. Pejuan, I've told you before that you've always been obedient to me, and I'm glad about that. But I didn't expect that after I told you the reason for everything, you would make such a choice. You've disappointed me. Yang Pejuan's eyes were filled with unwillingness, but he could only turn his head away because his mouth was already swollen. Yang Gongming's eyes suddenly turned serious, and he said, Listen to me. Our Yang clan doesn't need ignorant descendants, nor do we need arrogant descendants. I never thought that my son would forcefully drag his wife away in front of everyone at home. How is this any different from a robber robbing women and children? Don't you feel ashamed? I'm glad that I didn't hand over the Yang family to you. But as the saying goes, it's the father's fault for not teaching his son properly. I'm responsible for you becoming like this. I'm old, and you won't listen to me. Yin Sanyang quickly tried to calm Yang Gongming down when she saw how emotional he was. Master, don't get angry. It's bad for your health. Guo wiped her tears and went forward to support Yang Gongming. Yang Gongming waved his hand to indicate that he was fine. He looked at Yang Chung, who was standing there expressionlessly, and said, I originally wanted to hand over the position to Yang Chung when I'm too old. But now, as a punishment for myself, I've decided to give up the position and live in seclusion. The servants of the Yang family all had looks of disbelief on their faces, and Guo Shuihua was also standing at the side in shock. Yin Sanyang's eyes were filled with helplessness and relief. On the ground, Yang Pujuan's expression was incomparably complicated. He didn't know if he was sad or angry, because his actions had actually resulted in such a result. However, when Yang Chung heard this, he frowned and said bluntly, Old man, I didn't say that I'm going to take over the Yang family's position. Yang Gongming couldn't help but feel astonished. Even he, who could always predict what would happen, was puzzled. What did you say? I said, I don't have any plans to take over the Yang family for now. The current situation isn't simple. I don't know how to do anything other than killing people. Looking at your body, although you're not strong, you should be able to hold on for another 10 years or so. Plus, with me around, it won't be that easy for you to die. Wouldn't it be a waste if you retired now? I think, if you want to punish yourself, you'd better stay in this position. How tiring it is to manage such a mess. For me, as long as you're not too stingy when I need something, that's fine. Yang Chen squinted his eyes and smiled. Yang Gongming was stunned for a while, but he smiled bitterly. You brat, do you know how much power the head of the Yang family has? If you take over, just your attitude and a simple sentence in the core circle of power in Huaxia can change the trajectory of millions of people's lives. As long as you wave your arm, at least 30% of the more than 2 million soldiers in Huaxia will obey your orders. Do you know that that's equivalent to the total number of troops in 5 European countries? TSK. Yang Chung sighed. Now that you mention it, it sounds very powerful. Yang Gongming couldn't help but feel a little proud. Of course. Otherwise, do you think that the 4 great families are just a few old men sitting together and talking nonsense? Yang Chung chuckled. That won't do either. I'm still busy with my wedding, and after that, I have to accompany Roashi on their honeymoon. All right, I have to help my woman improve her cultivation. I'm too busy. I don't have time to care about other people's business. I even let my secretary manage the entertainment company in Zhonghai. Do you want me to hand over the management of the Yang family to my wife? You? Why do you have so many problems? Yang Gongming sighed. You really don't want to? Yang Chung nodded, but his eyes were resolute. At this moment, Yin Sanyang stepped forward and said, Master, since young Master Chun isn't willing, then there's no need to force him. After all, young Master Chun is still young, only in his 20s. If the Yang family doesn't have Master to oversee it, many despicable people will definitely stir up trouble. If it's just a bloody massacre, it'll inevitably be criticized. Yang Gongming nodded, accepting this explanation. He smiled bitterly. Then this old man will have to work for this young man for a few more years. Guo Shuihua forced a smile and said, Father, don't be angry. Yang Chung is right. You're still in good health. There's no need to make a decision so early. Yang Gongming patted his daughter-in-law's hand and said, Shuihua, I'm the one comparing Pujuan to you. I didn't expect Pujuan to end up like this. Yang Pujuan, who was lying on the ground, looked at Yang Gongming with resentment and unwillingness. He hated the fact that his face had lost all feeling and he couldn't say a word. Guo Shuihua smiled bitterly. As long as you can understand, I'm very satisfied. The wrinkles on Yang Gongming's face seemed to have deepened. He waved his hand and summoned the guards who were on standby and didn't dare to come forward. Bring your Commander Yang to the military hospital to rest and recuperate. As for the Jiangnan military and sea battle deployment, the deputy commander will temporarily take over. As for the Ministry of National Defense, inform Deputy Minister Liu, Yang Gongming ordered. Just a few simple words caused the faces of the guards to change drastically. He actually went to the military hospital and didn't even allow Yang Pujuan to stay at home. It seemed like Yang Gongming was determined to support his grandson and gave up on his son. Yang Pujuan closed his eyes. Rather than saying he was angry, it would be better to say that he was at a loss and lost. Just like that, the disturbance in the backyard subsided. Yang Chung didn't care too much about how Yang Pejuan was taken away. Instead, he went forward and asked Guoshiwa, "Mother, where's Ruashi? Where did you take her?" Guoshiwa wiped away her tears and scolded jokingly, "You're only thinking about your wife after such a big thing happened. Who asked me to be so unambitious? There's not much that I can think about." Yang Chung wasn't embarrassed at all. "I really don't know what to do with you." Guoshiwa sighed. "Ruashi is at the vegetable field behind the house. She just came out of my room and saw the vegetable field. She told me that she wanted to take a look. I didn't say anything about it. Maybe it's something new." "Vegetable field?" Yang Chung was stunned. "There's a vegetable field here?" Yin Sanyang said, "Young Master Chun, that's where Old Master usually grows vegetables. All the fruits and vegetables in the house are harvested from there." Yang Chung looked at Yang Gongming from head to toe with a strange expression. "Old man, the Yang family is so poor that they can't even afford vegetables. Are you in a hurry to hand over the position to me so that I can repay your loan?" T. Even though Yang Gongming had a good upbringing and didn't have much of a temper due to his old age, he couldn't help but curse when he heard this. "What's wrong with your head? I've been retired for so many years. Can't I plant some vegetables?" Yang Gongming didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Of course, Yang Chung was only joking. He waved his hand and ran to the backyard. He was curious about what Lin Ruashi was doing in the vegetable field. At the same time, Lin Ruashi, who was in the huge vegetable garden within the spacious walls, looked excited. She grew up in the city and only entered the kitchen occasionally after she got married. To her, this vegetable field was like an amusement park or a museum. There were many fruits and vegetables in the north in August. Whether it was the ripe red tomatoes, the round cabbages, the fat Chinese cabbages, the thick white radishes, and the bright green mustard greens, they were all very attractive to her. Lin Ruashi couldn't care less about the dirt on her clean high heels. She looked left and right, feeling that the vegetables that were still growing in the soil were so magical. When she saw the cucumbers hanging on the shelf, Lin Ruashi couldn't help but reach out and pick one. But when she picked it up and looked at it, she frowned in confusion as she stared at the cucumber in her hand. "Honey, what are you daydreaming about?" Yang Chung happened to walk into the vegetable field and asked curiously when he saw the woman's expression. Lin Ruashi woke up with a start. She bit her lip in embarrassment and said with a lowered eyebrow, I'm looking. Why does this cucumber look different from the ones we usually eat?" Yang Chung was puzzled. He stared at the dark green cucumber for a while and said, "How is it different? Why can't I see it?" "Didn't you notice? There are small thorns on the outside of this cucumber. We don't even have them in the ones we usually eat," Lin Ruashi said seriously. Upon hearing this discovery, Yang Chun almost fell headfirst into the mud. Chapter 940. Yang Cheng's expression became very conflicted. He touched his face and couldn't help but laugh. When Yang Chung saw Lin Ruashi pout, he smiled and said, "It's not that we don't have anything to eat. It's because Mother Wong washed away the thorns first. Otherwise, would she have left it for you to eat?" Lin Ruashi immediately understood and threw the cucumber into Yang Cheng's arms with a blushing face. "What are you laughing at? I've never seen a live cucumber before, and I don't even make cucumbers at home. So how would I know it has thorns? A live cucumber? TSK. Darling Ruashi, do you know what your problem is?" Yang Chung said mysteriously. "What problem?" Lin Ruashi was suspicious. "This is called the princess disease. You're used to eating the food of the mortal world. You don't even know what a cucumber looks like." Yang Chung laughed evilly. You're the princess. I've never seen a cucumber that's grown before." Lin Ruashi glared at him angrily and ran off to look at the other vegetables. Yang Chung smiled evilly and rubbed his chin. Looking at the cucumber in his hand, he sighed with emotion. This woman didn't even know what a cucumber looked like. It seemed that she had indeed lived a very pure and simple life for the past 20 years. Of course, he didn't dare to say this kind of crooked thought out loud. At this moment, Yang Gongming, who had followed him into the vegetable garden, let out a loud, "Aya!" To be able to make this old man shout so nervously, Yang Chen couldn't help but turn his head to look. He He saw Yang Gongming standing beside a vegetable field with a pained expression. He squatted down and fiddled with a pile of white radishes that had been pulled out from the ground. Who pulled this up? How could he pull out so many radishes? This is a waste. When Lin Ruoshi, who had just run to the side of the eggplant, heard this, her face turned pale. She lowered her head and walked to the side, as if she was a child who had made a big mistake. Grandfather, I was the one who pulled it out, Lin Ruoshi said faintly. Yang Gongming no longer had his usual gentle and calm demeanor. He picked up the radishes in his hands and stared at the 7 or 8 radishes on the ground, asking, "Who told you to pull out so many radishes? The vegetables that you eat every day are all harvested by the kitchen people. If you pull them out and can't eat them, it will be a waste. This is all my hard work." Lin Ruoshi's eyes reddened. She didn't expect him to be so angry just because she plucked some carrots. This is the first time I've seen a radish like this. I wanted to pull it out. After I pulled one out, I realized that there was a large part of it in the mud. I wondered if every one of them was very big, so I pulled a few more. I didn't say. When I heard this, Ruoshi, and Lin. This answer made Yang Gongming feel like a deflated balloon. He couldn't get angry even if he wanted to. Why are you, Guoxiuhua? And Yin Sanyang giggled, especially Guoxiuhua, who laughed so hard that tears came out her eyes. Yang Chen tried his best not to laugh. He walked up to Lin Ruoshi and hugged her shoulders. "All right, old man. It's just some carrots. I have a great appetite. I'll help you finish them all tonight so they won't go to waste." How kind of you." Yang Gongming looked at the radishes with a pained expression. He turned to Yin Sanyang and said, "Sanyang, tell the kitchen people to use the edible radishes in the dishes. As for the leftovers, make them into sour and vinegar radishes and eat them slowly." Yin Sanyang nodded her head out of habit. Yang Cheng raised his brows. "I thought you were a generous old man. How could you be so stingy over a few radishes? She's your granddaughter-in-law who's going to give you great-grandchildren in the future. You've only wasted a few of your carrots, yet you've scared her to tears. What do you know?" Yang Gongming continued. "I planted these radishes one by one. I've been taking care of them every day. How can I be happy when I see them being wasted like this?" Lin Ruoshi said carefully, "Grandpa, can I help you bury the radishes? Since they're not cut, I could just bury them again." Yang Gongming felt helpless. "It seems like you really don't know anything. You look no different from when you pulled it out, but this root is actually almost broken. If you continue to plant it, it'll just rot." Lin Ruoshi was completely confused. She didn't expect there to be so many tricks up her sleeve. She couldn't help but feel guilty. "All right, you don't have to blame yourself. I was the one who looked forward to your return. You're a girl who grew up in the city, so it's understandable." Yang Gongming waved his hand and said, "Let's go sit in the courtyard. This afternoon nap is over. Accompany this old man for a cup of tea and talk." No one dared to object. Looking at Yang Gongming's pained expression, they felt pity for the old man. He was like a child whose toy was broken. However, Yang Cheng found it funny. He felt that this old man had a cute side to him. Just as they walked to the grapevine-covered pavilion in the front courtyard, a bodyguard came to the door and reported, "Master, the madam of the Kai clan, Jiang Shan, has brought the eldest daughter of the Kai clan, Kai Ning. They're here to pay a visit." Everyone had different expressions when they heard this. Yang Cheng was a little embarrassed. Although it was a good thing that Kai Ning came, that cheap mother-in-law, Jiang Shan, was really a headache. Lin Ruoshi's expression didn't change. She just looked at the man with resentment. Guoxiuhua's expression was a little strange. She seemed to be thinking about how she should react. "Kai Ning." Yang Gongming pondered for a moment. He pursed his lips and smiled. "I've heard of that girl many times. She seems to have a good relationship with you." Seeing that Yang Gongming was asking him so bluntly, Yang Cheng coughed twice. He pretended not to see Lin Ruoshi's cold gaze and nodded. "Then let's meet them. Just ask Madame Kai and her daughter to come over for tea," Yang Gongming said with a smile. With Yang Gongming's decision, even if Lin Ruoshi felt uncomfortable, she didn't dare to say anything. The pitiful CEO Lin was still feeling guilty for plucking a few radishes by mistake. Not long after, A high-pitched female voice came from the corridor. Io, thank you, old Marshal Yang. You're worthy of being the cornerstone of our Huaxia, to have us mother and daughter come to disturb you in the afternoon. Jiang Shan's flattering words gave Yang Cheng and the rest goosebumps. However, Yang Gongming seemed to find it interesting. He held his chin and chuckled. Jiang Shan was dressed in a fashionable floral dress. She was holding a long red box in her arms. It looked like a gift. Kai Ning, who was wearing a simple white dress, followed behind her mother from beginning to end. Her hands were intertwined in front of her body, which made the woman's inner nervousness and uneasiness show. Completely different from her sister, Kai Yin, she was quiet and elegant, making Kai Ning seem to bring out the best in this secluded courtyard. A trace of satisfaction flashed in Yang Gongming's eyes. The smile on his face became even warmer. Jiang Shan was completely familiar with them. After flattering Yang Gongming, she greeted Guo Xuehua and Yin Sanyang. Finally, when it was Lin Ruoxi's turn, Jiang Shan seemed especially excited. Ruoxi, I haven't seen you for so many years. You seem to be the stubborn little girl you were when you were young. How did you become so slender and elegant all of a sudden? I heard that you came to Beijing. I've been wanting to see you for a long time. I hope you don't mind. Because Choi Yun and Lin Ruoxi grew up together, she often saw Jiang Shan when she was still in Zhonghai. That was why she started the conversation. Even though Jiang Shan's intention was obvious, and she did not have a good impression of Lin Ruoxi, it was as if she was a senior who missed her junior and was full of nostalgia. Lin Ruoxi smiled at Kai Ning before nodding at Jiang Shan. Of course I don't mind. I'm also very happy to see you, Auntie Jiang. The smile on Jiang Shan's face was like a blossoming flower. She pulled the uneasy Kai Ning over and said, I've told Ning Air to get closer to you, Ruoxi. You're more familiar with Yin Yin, but Ning Air went to Sichuan province to learn martial arts when she was young, so we haven't seen each other much. Now that we have this layer of relationship, I believe you'll get closer very soon. This relationship? Jiang Shan said it lightly, but in fact, she revealed all the internal connections. She didn't even give the slightest chance to settle the matter. She just played it down. Yang Gongming and Yin Sanyang looked at each other. Both of them were a little impressed by Madame Kai. This was not something that could be done by just anyone with thick skin. Chapter 941. As expected, Lin Ruoxi's expression was a little unnatural, but she still forced a smile and looked at Kai Ning with a complicated gaze. At the same time, Kai Ning looked at Lin Ruoxi apologetically and helplessly. The woman pursed her lips and walked to Yang Gongming. She nodded gently and said, Sir, my mom insisted on coming over today. Please forgive me for disturbing you and causing trouble. Yang Gongming laughed and said, This isn't a crime. Look at this old man. What's there to forgive? I heard that you're one of the group of 8 of the Yellow Flame, Iron Brigade. You're still so young. You're really a talented woman. That's right. Jiang Shan immediately came forward and said, Old Marshal Yang, my Ning heir is innocent and doesn't have much confidence. Please take care of her. As her mother, I'm always worried. All right, I came here today to prepare a small gift for you. Please accept it. As she spoke, Jiang Shan placed the red box on the marble table. Yang Cheng, who was standing at the side, didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This mother-in-law of his was really good at getting things done. Yang Cheng couldn't help but blink at Kai Ning and puckered his lips at Jiang Shan to express his admiration. Kai Ning's beautiful eyes flashed with a gentle light, but she didn't say anything. Actually, from the moment Kai Ning entered the room, Yang Cheng could clearly feel that Kai Ning's cultivation had officially entered the Xiantian realm, just like what she said over the phone. Moreover, because the cultivation technique that he had concluded was superior, her foundation was relatively strong. It wouldn't be too difficult for her to steadily improve in the future. And because she had entered the Xiantian realm, Kai Ning was much calmer than before. She was more elegant and tranquil. This made Yang Cheng feel gratified. At least the path that he had chosen was right. At the same time, Guo Xuehua was responsible for opening the gift that Jiang Shan brought. After removing the red cloth, she realized that there was a thin, wild ginseng inside. The ginseng's roots were very small, but they were very long. The box couldn't fit all of them, so it had to be carefully wrapped in the box. Yang Gongming's eyes lit up. Good ginseng. This should be a wild ginseng from Changbai Mountain. From its appearance, it should be at least 100 years old. Jiang Shan smiled. Old Marshal, you have good eyes. Not bad. This Changbai Mountain wild ginseng is 110-year-old. It's our family's heirloom, but I'll give it to you as a gift. 110 years? How can it be so incredible? Yang Cheng didn't quite believe it. Son-in-law Yang, you can't say that. Although there are very few real ginseng on the market, this ginseng has been passed down for 2 generations. It can't be fake, Jiang Shan said happily. The word son-in-law Yang made Lin Ruoshi's face puff up. She secretly pinched Yang Cheng's waist from behind, wanting to leave on the spot. Yang Cheng was helpless. If it wasn't for Lin Ruoshi's presence, he would have gone up to hug Kai Ning, whom he hadn't seen for a long time. He couldn't touch any of the beauties in front of him. It was really tragic. Yang Gongming picked up the ginseng box and praised. What does a young man know? This ginseng depends on its head, color, and shape. This ginseng has more than 4 circles, so it's definitely not young. In addition, the color is dull and the roots are simple and slender. It's worthy of being 100 years old. I wonder if old Marshal is satisfied? Jiang Shan asked with a smile. This is such a precious wild ginseng. I don't deserve it. Yang Gongming said politely. Jiang Shan hurriedly said, Of course not. With Yang Cheng around, the Yang family and the Kai family are in-laws. Why would I feel guilty giving my in-laws a wild ginseng? There were many things that couldn't be said directly, but everyone understood. Jiang Shan was sure that Yang Gongming wouldn't reject having a woman like Kai Ning as his grandson's lover, so there was nothing to be afraid of. Indeed, if it was in the past, the atmosphere of society back then would definitely not allow the children of influential families to indulge in their private lives. But among these influential families, who didn't have any romantic affairs, thus, he could only turn a blind eye to it. Of course, Yang Gongming had long heard about what happened between Kai Ning and Yang Cheng, which was why he let the mother and daughter in easily and was quite fond of Kai Ning. But when he said this, Kai Ning couldn't help but turn her head away shyly, and Yang Cheng could only smile bitterly at Lin Ruoshi. If that's the case, I'll accept it, Yang Gongming said as he passed the box to Yin San Yang and ordered someone to put it away. Jiang Shan was overjoyed. With Yang Gongming accepting it, it meant that Kai Ning's matter was almost completely settled. Since Kai Ning was fine, Choi Yun naturally agreed that it was fine. Immediately, Yang Gongming ordered the servants to bring more tea and warmly invited Jiang Shan and her daughter to stay for dinner. Of course, Jiang Shan couldn't wait. She even chatted with Guo Hua as she sipped on her tea. It had to be said that even though Jiang Shan acted like a little housewife, it was because of this that people could relax. Guo Hua quickly became familiar with her, even though they had only met once or twice in the past. Kai Ning and Lin Ruoshi sat together and exchanged a few simple greetings. She didn't know what to say. Yang Cheng, on the other hand, kept eating pastries and drinking tea. He was thinking of ways to make the relationship between the 2 women more harmonious, but both of them were cold types, so he really couldn't find a starting point. Just as the 2 in-laws were chatting passionately, Lin Ruoshi stood up awkwardly and poured tea for everyone at the table. At this moment, Jiang Shan's gaze was fixed on Lin Ruoshi's slender and fair wrist. Ah, this jade bracelet is really beautiful. Jiang Shan's sharp eyes immediately noticed. Only then did everyone notice that on Lin Ruoshi's wrist, there was an additional jade bracelet that wasn't there when she came. Yang Gongming, Yin Sanyang, and Guo Hua naturally knew what it meant. Yang Gongming only glanced at Guo Hua with satisfaction and a hint of nostalgia in his eyes. Kai Ning wasn't a woman who valued jewelry, but when she saw the jade bracelet, she couldn't help but feel a tinge of envy in her eyes. After Yang Cheng noticed it, he took a closer look and suddenly noticed something special. He couldn't help but ponder. Ruoshi, where did this bracelet come from? Yang Cheng asked. Lin Ruoshi wasn't someone who liked to show off. Being stared at like this, she felt a little embarrassed as she touched the precious Fengxiang bracelet and said, Mom just passed it to me this afternoon. Then, Lin Ruoshi roughly told them what Guo Hua said. When she heard that it was an ancestral heirloom for the eldest daughter-in-law of the Yang family, jealousy filled Jiang Shan's eyes. She pondered and asked with a smile, "So, it's the treasure of the Yang family, the Fengxiang bracelet. What a nice name, and it looks really good. Xuehua, is this bracelet a single one? And it's a pair?" Hearing such a straightforward question, Xuehua almost broke out in a cold sweat. She smiled stiffly and said, "Of course it's a single one. This is an imperial jade. It's rare in the world. How can it be a pair?" "Oh, that's a pity," Jiang Shan said helplessly in heartache. "My Ninger has grown up, and I, as her mother, have never given her a decent piece of jewelry. Ruashi is so lucky to have such a good mother-in-law." When she said that, Lin Ruashi blushed all the way to her ears. She secretly glared at Yang Cheng with a hidden bitterness. Yang Cheng thought to himself innocently, "What does this have to do with me?" Kai Ning said, "This bracelet matches Ruashi's temperament very well. It looks good on her." Lin Ruashi was stunned for a moment before she smiled and said, "Thank you." This gentle compliment made the relationship between the two women a little more harmonious. Then Yang Cheng thought for a while and looked at Yin Sanyang. He asked, "Grandma Yin, can you see the secret behind this Fengxiang bracelet?" Yin Sanyang asked doubtfully, "Secret? What do you mean, young Master Chen?" Yang Cheng thought to himself, with Yin Sanyang's cultivation base, she wouldn't be able to notice anything special about the Fengxiang bracelet. I wonder which expert left this treasure behind. I should really thank that ancestor. It's nothing, it's just that this bracelet is really good. Yang Cheng looked deeply at Lin Ruashi and said, "Wifey, you should always wear it. Don't take it off, it looks good anyway." Lin Ruashi didn't understand Yang Cheng's words, but she had already promised Xuehua that she would wear it before she gave birth, so she nodded in agreement. At this moment, Jiang Shan interrupted, "Son-in-law Yang, I heard from Ning that you and Ruashi will be holding a wedding in a few days. If you need any help, don't be shy. I know you're not an impartial person, but our Ning, and Yonian are very generous. If you need any bridesmaids, they can still participate." Hearing this, Lin Ruashi's face instantly turned gloomy. "Mom," Kai Ning quickly called out to her. Yang Cheng furrowed his brows and took a sip of tea. He then said slowly, "Auntie, if I remember correctly, you chased me out the door when you first met me. You even opened the door to welcome Yong Yi to marry Ning, when you first met me. If you've forgotten about that part of the past, then let me remind you. Since you're here to deliver the ginseng, I think you should stop before you go too far." Hearing this, Jiang Shan's words were stuck in her throat. She smiled awkwardly and didn't ask any further. Kai Ning looked at Yang Cheng apologetically. Yang Cheng naturally wouldn't blame her, but he made up his mind to not be too nice to Jiang Shan in the future. When this woman opened her mouth, it was really hurtful. Chapter 942. Unknowingly, it was nighttime. After the servants served the dishes, everyone had dinner together in the parlor in the backyard. Yang Gongming seemed to be very satisfied with Kai Ning. He even made an exception and drank a small glass of wine, clinking glasses with Kai Ning lightly. Kai Ning was flattered, but she had grown up in the Tang sect and was strict with herself. She could only accept it with tea instead of wine. "Ning I know that you went to the military court for that little brat from our Yang family. However, this is a matter between you youngsters and your parents are here. As an outsider, it's not appropriate for me to ask too much. But now, since you're sitting at the Yang family's dinner, this old man has to give you a toast. Thank you for your hard work," Yang Gongming said sincerely. Lin Ruashi had already heard from Yang Cheng that Kai Ning was imprisoned and even went to the military court because of Yang Cheng, so she wasn't too surprised. She just couldn't help but feel upset. But it was Xuehua's first time hearing about it. She immediately asked with concern, "When did this happen? Why didn't I hear about it from you, Yang Cheng?" Jiang Shan finally found an entry point. She immediately wiped her reddened eyes and squeezed some tears out. "Xuehua, you don't know, but when Yang Cheng's son-in-law fought with the Zheng family, my Ning heir killed Zheng Mao on behalf of Yang Cheng. When I heard the news, I almost fainted." Xuehua was instantly touched. She smiled at Kai Ning and said, "I didn't expect this to happen. As your mother, I have to respect you too." Kai Ning was rather embarrassed, but she still had to politely clink glasses with Guo Xiuhua. Ning don't do such silly things in the future. Although my son isn't much, it's impossible for others to hurt him, Guo Xiuhua consoled. Yang Cheng and Kai Ning looked at each other. They recalled the time they met and felt like it was yesterday. Lin Ruoxi listened quietly. A trace of sadness flashed through her eyes, but there was nothing to be jealous of because it was the truth. Yang Gongming chuckled and asked, Ninger, I heard that you have a younger sister? Yeah, her name is Choi Yun, but she's still in Zhonghai. She's the chief of the police station, and she's been quite active since young. Kai Ning pursed her lips and smiled. It was easier to talk about her only biological sister. Yang Gongming nodded in understanding. You and Yonyan are welcome to come to my house next time. This old man is usually very lonely, and you and Yang Cheng are very familiar with each other, so I will be very happy to see you. The meaning of the old woman's words was clear. She had acknowledged the two sisters. This made Jiang Shan's body stiffen with excitement. Guo Xiuhua was a little helpless. She looked at her daughter-in-law, Lin Ruoxi, who was biting her lower lip, and reached out to touch her hand with pity. Lin Ruoxi looked at her mother-in-law and saw a hint of comfort in Guo Xiuhua's eyes. In an instant, Lin Ruoxi understood a lot. Being born in a family like this, there was no doubt about the outcome. To Yang Gongming, although he liked Lin Ruoxi as his granddaughter-in-law, it didn't mean that she was the only one. The Yang family was small, so the old woman was naturally happy for her grandson to have more female confidants. After all, Yang Cheng didn't even have half a child, but he had been married to Lin Ruoxi for almost 2 years. Until the end of the dinner, Yang Gongming asked Kai Ning many questions about her experiences in martial arts, as well as her diplomatic mission. He seemed to be very interested in Kai Ning's life experience. Kai Ning answered him sincerely and respectfully. Kai Ning replied respectfully and sincerely. She wasn't anxious or impatient. After realizing that Yang Gongming liked her a lot, she didn't feel nervous just because the old man in front of her was one of the most powerful people in China. This kind of situation made Lin Ruoxi sit at the side, and she couldn't help but feel depressed. When the dinner was over, Yang Gongming even asked Yin Sanyang to pack some vegetables that he had personally grown for her. Although the gifts were cheap, the meaning behind them was much more precious than gold and silver. It showed that the old woman had truly accepted the Kai family's daughter. In order to take care of Lin Ruoxi's feelings, Yang Cheng didn't say much during the dinner. When they parted, he only asked Kai Ning to see him in a few days. Kai Ning knew that the two of them were going to have a wedding, but she didn't feel too sour about it. Instead, she wished them well and generously congratulated Lin Ruoxi. As the person in charge of monitoring Yang Cheng, she knew that it wasn't easy for the two of them to get to where they were today. After they left, the entire Yang family mansion quietened down. Under the moonlight, the stars were sparse, and the lights in the mansion were lit up. The night breeze was chilly, and the servants took turns to go on duty in an orderly manner. Under Yin Sanyang's care, Yang Gongming returned to his room to rest. He was old, and after a busy day, he naturally wasn't as energetic as before. On the other hand, Guo Xiuhua brought Yang Cheng and Lin Ruoxi to a relatively new house in the mansion. This house is yours. Although you can sleep in separate rooms in Zhonghai, you can't sleep in the Yang family in Beijing. I don't care what you two are thinking, but if you sleep in separate rooms, Grandpa won't be able to explain it to him. Guo Xiuhua tugged Lin Ruoxi's hand and said, If you need anything, just tell the servants. You're the mistress of the Yang family from now on, so don't worry too much. Many of the servants here are the trusted followers of the Yang family for generations. They're all experienced people, so they'll more or less feel like they're half a master. You've just married into the family, so if you're too polite, they'll look down on you. These are naturally Guo Xiuhua's experiences in the past, and she imparted them to her daughter-in-law at the last minute. Lin Ruoxi listened obediently and noted them down. After Guo Xiuhua left, only the young couple were left in the hallway. Yang Cheng noticed that Lin Ruoxi's face was covered with a layer of rouge, which was very attractive. Honey, let's go in. Yang Cheng opened the wooden door and gestured for her to go in. Lin Ruoxi raised her head, and her eyes were a little uneasy, but she still nodded. When they entered the house, they realized that although the exterior was antique, the facilities inside were equivalent to a modern, luxurious presidential suite. Apart from the bedroom, there was a separate bathroom, a dressing room, and a small bar counter filled with all kinds of domestic and foreign wines. It seemed that Guo Xiuhua had put in a lot of effort to decorate this place. But what Lin Ruoshi cared about the most was the only king-size bed. Although it was a custom-made super size of 3 meters wide, it still meant that the two of them would have to sleep together. "If you still think it's weird, I'll sleep on the floor tonight," Yang Cheng said with a smile from behind. Lin Ruoshi turned around and looked at Yang Cheng's indifferent and understanding expression. She hesitated for a moment, then shook her head. "You have to get used to it eventually. Thinking about it carefully, it's actually nothing much. Why don't you go take a bath first? You're busy enough today," Lin Ruoshi said gently. Yang Cheng nodded. He wasn't surprised by this answer. After all, the woman had taken the initiative to say that they wanted to consummate their marriage. So what if they slept together? "My body can control itself from sweating, so it's actually not that dirty. Why don't you wash first?" Yang Cheng said. "I need to call Qianni and Mingyu, and I need to ask Hong Yan. Although I don't care about the company situation, I still need to understand it," Lin Ruoshi said embarrassedly. Yang Cheng smiled. It seemed that it was impossible for a workaholic like Lin Ruoshi to suddenly become a housewife. She was already preparing for the wedding, yet she was still thinking about the company. 10 minutes later, Yang Cheng quickly took a shower and came out of the bathroom wearing a pair of loose boxers. Seeing that Lin Ruoshi had just hung up the phone, he pointed his thumb at the bathroom and said with a smile, "That bathtub is a big bathtub. It seems like Mom is going to let us take a bath together. Darling Ruoshi, how about I take another bath with you?" Lin Ruoshi looked at Yang Cheng's firm and muscular body. Her cheeks flushed red, and she tried her best not to dodge him as she rolled her eyes at him. "If you want to bathe, let Sister Kai Ning accompany you. She's so gentle, she'll definitely be willing." When he said this, Yang Cheng couldn't help but be stunned for a moment. He grinned and said, "You really are jealous." Who's jealous?" Lin Ruoshi also realized that she had let the cat out of the bag. She gritted her teeth and quickly grabbed the clothes on the bed. She lowered her head and hurriedly ran into the bathroom. Yang Cheng shouted towards the bathroom, "Remember to wash up fragrant. I don't want to smell sour and vinegar when I sleep." The bathroom door was slammed shut with a bang, and the faint sound of a woman's complaints could be heard. Not long after, the sound of water splashing could be heard from the bathroom. Chapter 943. After joking around with Lin Ruoshi, Yang Cheng lay down on the bed, calmed down, and stared at the chandelier hanging on the ceiling. It was the first day he stepped into this real home that he had never been to since he was a child, and so many things happened in one day. He couldn't help but look forward to what his first morning in this house would be like after a night. Almost an hour later, the bathroom door opened. Yang Cheng naturally turned his head and saw Lin Ruoshi walk out of the door. She had already put on the loose cotton pajamas that she usually wore. The colorful spots made it look a little childish. If you remember correctly, this was a gift from the old CEO. This kind of nightgown easily covered the woman's tall and plump figure. After her black hair was let down, it hung softly to her perky buttocks. It had been dried with a hairdryer and looked black and glossy. It had to be said that Lin Ruoshi's skin was very white. If she didn't take a shower and wear white pajamas, it wouldn't be so white and translucent. Her long eyelashes blinked as Lin Ruoshi pretended to be calm as she walked to the other side of the bed and slowly sat on the bed. Tilting her head, Lin Ruoshi saw that Yang Cheng was still staring at her. She quietly said, "What are you looking at? Go to sleep. I thought you would change into sexy lingerie. Why are you wearing this?" Yang Cheng laughed. "Why do I have to wear this kind of clothes?" Lin Ruoshi said unhappily. Yang Cheng mischievously said, "Today, Ning Er came. Shouldn't you feel the danger and grab your husband tightly? You don't have a competitive edge wearing this. You bully me again. I don't care about you anymore." Lin Ruoshi angrily pulled the sheet over and covered herself. Then she turned around and lay down with her back facing Yang Cheng. She began to sleep. Yang Chung sensed the woman's irregular breathing and knew that Lin Ruoshi was definitely not calm. Yang Chung sighed, feeling a little heartache. After thinking for a moment, he lifted the other corner of the blanket and slowly lay down. Lin Ruoshi only felt a rustling sound behind her. After the quilt shook, a warm and thick body pressed against her back. Subconsciously, the woman curled up her body, her breathing especially hurried, the red glow burning to her sparkling ears. But before Lin Ruoshi could think about it, Yang Cheng's arm had already slowly but powerfully reached over. It went around her waist and supported Lin Ruoshi's lower abdomen. In this way, the two of them were tightly pressed together under the sheet. Yang Chung could smell the faint jasmine fragrance coming from the woman's body and hair. The pleasant scent and the delicate touch on his hand made Yang Cheng's lower abdomen burn. At first, Lin Ruoshi could still hold on, but suddenly she felt a strong force starting to rise between her legs. The thick head slid through the gap between her legs and squeezed between her buttocks. Lin Ruoshi couldn't help but let out a nasal sound that even she was ashamed of. It was because when she realized what was pressing against her, she really couldn't continue pretending to be calm. Yang Chung chuckled. "Sorry, I didn't mean that. This is just to prove that my male function is normal." Lin Ruoshi bit her thin lips and didn't know what to say. She shut her watery eyes tightly. Her eyelashes curved and trembled nonstop. The thing that made her incomparably nervous and embarrassed was still going on. Yang Cheng's huge and thick head was far more terrifying than Lin Ruoshi had imagined. It was fine that it had squeezed between her buttocks, but it was actually still expanding. Gradually, Lin Ruoshi could feel that her buttocks were being pushed open by that force. At this moment, cotton pajamas were completely useless. The tightly pressed fabric still transmitted a scorching heat. That kind of male hormonal scent made Lin Ruoshi's delicate body unable to resist and soften like water. Lin Ruoshi wanted to move her body away, but she was embarrassed to realize that she actually couldn't exert any strength, especially when Yang Cheng's big and broad hand was caressing her lower abdomen. It was like a stabilizing force. It made Lin Ruoshi involuntarily want to stick to the man like this, unwilling to move. In this awkward situation, the two of them were in a stalemate for a long time. Yang Cheng's bad guy finally realized that his master had no intention of attacking and quietly retreated. Only then did Lin Ruoshi let out a sigh of relief. When she realized all of this, she was already sweating profusely. "Darling Ruoshi, you don't have to be nervous. I just want to hug you. I promise to do it after the wedding, so I can still endure this." Yang Cheng leaned close to the woman's ear and smiled. Lin Ruoshi's heart was slightly at ease, but at the same time, she was slightly disappointed. She gently asked, "Are you going to keep hugging me like this? I want to sleep with you in my arms." Yang Chung said, "Why, I don't know either. I feel that it's very happy, but I never had the chance to try it. However, I don't want to force it, because I feel that only by letting nature take its course is true happiness." Yang Chung chuckled. Lin Ruoshi opened her eyes, a trace of gentleness and sweetness surging through them. "I can't sleep." Yang Chung replied with an "I know. That's why I want to hug you even more. Grandpa seems to like Sister Kai Ning a lot." Lin Ruoshi hesitated for a moment, but still said it out loud. "Because Ninger is a soldier, and she's Hua Xia's most loyal soldier. She's very selfless, dutiful, and beautiful. This kind of girl, the old man will definitely like." Yang Chung said, "But Grandpa doesn't seem to." "Like me," Lin Ruoshi said dejectedly. Yang Chung frowned. "Why would you think that?" "I don't know why I have this feeling, but just this afternoon I was just curious, so I pulled a few more radishes. I feel that Grandpa seems to be very angry with me. I think if it was Sister Kai Ning who pulled the radishes, Grandpa wouldn't be so angry," Lin Ruoshi said faintly. Yang Chung clicked his tongue. "That old man, maybe he's getting old, his brain isn't working well." "You're not allowed to talk about your elders like that," Lin Ruoshi corrected. Yang Chung smiled. His wife was really a good girl who respected the old and loved the young. He could only say, Maybe Grandpa really does care about the vegetables he grew. Besides, didn't I tell you to forget about it later? Lin Ruashi replied, but after a while she said, but during dinner, he didn't even pay attention to me. He only cared about talking to Sister Kai Ning. Yang Chung sucked in a breath of cold air and said, Wifey, why don't I run over and help you catch that old man and question him? Why does he dare to be so cold to his granddaughter-in-law? You, don't talk nonsense, I'm just telling you. Maybe Grandpa wants to make Sister Kai Ning feel better. After all, you and I are going to have a wedding, but she doesn't, Lin Ruashi hurriedly said. Yang Chung said happily, so that's what you think in your heart. It seems like you're still a little proud? No, of course not. Lin Ruashi hurriedly denied it, but she didn't have enough confidence. Yang Chung didn't tease her. He only told some jokes to let Lin Ruashi relax. However, it was difficult for the woman to get out of so many lost emotions. After pretending to sleep for a while, she couldn't help but ask, Hubby, Sister Kai Ning, is her cultivation already very high? Yang Chung didn't expect the woman to ask this, so he honestly said, It should be. At her current age, she has already reached the early Xiantian stage. Her foundation is very good, and with my guidance, it won't take her a few years to reach the peak of the Xiantian stage. As for the soul formation stage, that will depend on her luck, but with her perception, she will probably be able to reach it before the age of 35. Lin Ruashi's delicate body couldn't help but tense up. She said in a soft voice, I feel that I'm useless. I can't help you much. I have to train my body first. I'm not good at housework. I can do business, but you don't need money. When the enemy comes, I will become your burden. At the end of his words, his voice became softer and softer, almost inaudible. Suddenly, Yang Chung suddenly lifted the blanket. Lin Ruashi only felt that her body was empty, and then Yang Chung, who was behind her, suddenly sat up. He raised his hand high and swung it down, hitting the woman's soft buttocks. Pa! Through her pajamas, her buttocks trembled, making a crisp sound. Lin Ruashi was shocked. She hurriedly dodged and sat up. She was embarrassed and angry at being spanked for no reason. She questioned, Why did you hit me? Chapter 944. As the lights were turned off, only a few rays of dim yellow light from the corridor shone in. Yang Qing's expression was very calm. Why not? Just like you said, you're so useless. You can't practice martial arts, do housework, and make money from your business. I don't lack money. When the enemy comes, you'll be the first to be captured, and I'll have to spend a lot of effort to save you. Yang Chung said, Tell me, you're so useless. If I don't hit you, who else should I hit? When Lin Ruashi heard this, she clenched her fists miserably. Her eyes were red, but she resisted the sourness. In the dark, sitting on the bed, Lin Ruashi smiled bitterly. These are the words in your heart, right? You've always thought this way, and you've been tired of me for a long time, haven't you? This isn't what I said. You're the one who told me that you have so many faults. Yang Chung said lightly. Lin Ruashi snorted. I can understand even if you don't say it. You said that I pulled you out of the abyss, but you were just fooling me. How do you know that I was fooling you? Yang Cheng's lips curled into a curious smile. Lin Ruashi lowered her eyebrows and tangled her hands on the quilt. I don't have the ability to help you at all. I'll only be a burden. How could I have the ability to help you out of the abyss? A woman like Sister Kai Ning who can help you is probably the one you want to marry the most. Then why do you think I brought you here now? Why did I prepare for our wedding for more than half a year? Why haven't we separated until now? It's not like there aren't any other women I can choose to be my wife. Why do I have to choose you who can't do anything? Yang Chung asked. Lin Ruashi thought hard for a while, but even she couldn't figure it out. How would I know what you're thinking? You're someone who hides everything in your heart. If you don't say it, how would I know? Lin Ruashi snorted in disdain. Yang Chung sighed and tapped Lin Ruashi's forehead. Don't touch me. Lin Ruashi hurriedly dodged. She was extremely annoyed. Because I am happy. His sudden words caused Lin Ruashi's pouting expression to freeze on the spot. Yang Chung said with a sincere expression, If you can't tell, then I'll tell you. It's because I feel very happy. Not only when I'm hugging you, but even when I'm looking at you, I feel very happy. This kind of feeling compared to being with anyone else is much clearer and more palpable. Lin Ruashi swore that at this moment, she really wanted to take a scalpel and cut open this man's heart to see what kind of structure it was. This sudden turn of events caught her off guard and rendered her speechless. After staring blankly for a long time, Lin Ruashi lowered her head unnaturally and said, "I don't believe it. How could it be so simple? You're trying to fool me again. It's that simple. Also, if I didn't think that way, why would I waste my energy to explain it to you?" Yang Chung smiled bitterly and powerlessly. Lin Ruashi pouted, her hands kneading the corner of her pajamas. Yang Chung was exasperated. He reached out to support Lin Ruashi's shoulder and solemnly said, "Raise your head and look at me." Lin Ruashi pouted, still unwilling. "If you don't listen to me, I'll pick you up, stick up your butt, and spank you 100 times. Yang Chung threatened. When Lin Ruashi heard this, she immediately raised her head with a face full of resentment. Her pair of watery eyes stared at Yang Chung in shame and indignation. Yang Chung was amused by the woman's bullied expression, but he still held back his laughter and made himself look serious. "Madam Lin Ruashi, I will only say it once today, and I will only say it once in my life. Listen carefully. I hope to truly become a husband and wife with you, and continue to walk down this path. First of all, it's not because I want to give you so much beauty and make you so happy." Lin Ruashi almost stopped breathing. She couldn't believe that Yang Chung would really say that. Not to make himself happy? What was that? Yang Chung paused for a moment, took a deep breath, and said, "It's because I'm very happy with you. I have to tell you that I'm very selfish. I want to keep you by my side and be with you forever. So, I want to marry you and be my wife. In order to achieve this goal, I will work hard to make you happy so that your body and your heart can accompany me, and I won't be willing to part with you." At this moment, the air seemed to freeze. Lin Ruashi looked at Yang Chung in a daze, and these words that made people love and hate echoed in her ears. A trickle of sour, sweet, bitter, and spicy feelings made her purse her lips and scold him with a smile. "Scoundrel, you're a complete scoundrel." Yang Chung laughed heartily and said, "Who said it wasn't? That's why I said they'll only say these words once in my life. I will remember it for the rest of my life." Lin Ruashi glanced at him. "I will always remember that you are a selfish husband." Once the knot in his heart was untied, it was as if all the pressure and confusion had been easily resolved. Lin Ruashi felt as if she was floating in the air. An unprecedented sense of security and satisfaction made her feel a little dizzy. Yang Chung hugged her and lay down. He pulled the blanket over and said, "Can you sleep on Sheen now?" The woman answered in a daze, and not long after, she fell asleep soundly. Yang Chung waited for the woman to fall asleep before kissing her forehead and closing his eyes. The next morning, in the Yang family's courtyard, it was filled with the sound of birds and the fragrance of flowers. Guo Shuihua personally came to the door and knocked until Yang Chung, who was wearing a pair of pants, opened the door with his upper body bare. Seeing her son dressed like this, Guo Shuihua couldn't help but glance at Lin Ruashi, who was still hugging the blanket and sleeping on the big bed. Ruashi is still sleeping. Doesn't she usually wake up very early? Yang Chung smiled helplessly and said, "Mom, did you forget? She has her phone alarm on at home. She doesn't have to go to work today, so this lazy cat won't wake up." Oh, Guo Shuihua suddenly understood and couldn't help but smile ambiguously. "Bad boy, tell Mom what happened last night." Yang Chung thought about it carefully and nodded. "Something did happen." "What is it?" "Tell me. Don't worry. We are mother and son. It's not a big deal." Guo Shuihua's smile became even wider. Yang Chun said seriously, "Mom, there's something wrong with your daughter-in-law's sleeping posture. I've pulled the blanket at least 10 times at night, but in the end, she took it all away. She even hugged the blanket like a shrimp and curled up there. I didn't even cover myself with a quilt. Fortunately, I'm strong, otherwise I would have gotten sick." Guo Shuihua's smile disappeared, and she glanced at Yang Chung unhappily. "Serves you right." At this moment, Lin Ruashi, who was hugging the quilt on the bed with her legs curled up, rolled twice, and faced the direction of the door. Originally, Guo thought it was quite interesting, but then, in her sleep, Lin Ruoshi subconsciously used the quilt to wipe the sparkling liquid that flowed out from the corner of her mouth following that. The woman's pink lips even clicked, as if she was eating some delicious glutinous rice ball in her dream. The woman stood at the door, her expression instantly stiff, while Yang Chung didn't know whether to laugh or cry more than half an hour later. After being woken up by Yang Chung, Lin Ruoshi washed up and followed Yang Chung to the dining room for breakfast. Yang Gongming and Guo Shuhua had been waiting for a long time. They waited for the young couple to sit down before they started serving the meal. During the meal, Guo Shuhua couldn't help but glance at her daughter-in-law from time to time. At this moment, she was already wearing a white dress, looking elegant and refined. This made Lin Ruoshi feel strange, but she couldn't figure it out. When they were almost done eating, Yang Gongming asked, "Yang Chung, you haven't told me the specific arrangements for your wedding. How many days are you staying in Beijing? And who are you planning to invite to attend?" Hearing this question, Lin Ruoshi also glanced at Yang Chung curiously. "I plan to bring Ruoshi to play for 2 days, just to familiarize herself with the environment here. As for the people to invite, I don't know many people in the country. In Zhonghai, I will send someone to be responsible for picking up Mother Wang. As for here, old man, if you are willing, then you can go. Mom will definitely go. As for the others, there's no need. We're going to the place where we're going to hold the wedding, so it's not suitable for too many people to go." Yang Chung said, "Child, why are you still keeping us in suspense?" Guo Shuhua jokingly scolded. Yang Gongming chuckled. "If you want to sell it, then sell it. If you want to go abroad to get married, then this old man won't go. I'm old, and I don't want to go far. Remember to take some photos, videos, and so on." Yang Chung nodded. That wasn't a problem. He didn't need to take it himself anyway. "All right," Yang Gongming said again. "Since we still have to stay for 2 days, then later Ruoshi followed Grandpa to the vegetable garden at the back." Chapter 945. Hearing the word vegetable garden, Lin Ruoshi almost choked on the porridge she was drinking. She covered her mouth awkwardly and looked at Yang Gongming in confusion. "Grandpa, what's the matter?" Yang Gongming nodded and said, "Seeing that you're very interested in those fruits and vegetables, I'll tell you about them. Help me do some work, water, and fertilize them." Watering and fertilizing? Lin Ruoshi was a little baffled. Even if Yang Gongming didn't want to do this kind of thing, there were other servants who could do it. "Do you think it's strange?" Yang Gongming seemed to have seen through the woman's doubts and said, "This is the vegetable garden that I take care of myself. I never let the servants interfere with it. You are the first person other than San Yang who allows you to take care of my treasures." Hearing this, Lin Ruoshi was in a good mood. Although she still felt strange, she nodded in agreement. Yang Chung didn't mind. It just so happened that he could contact Ron, who was preparing the final preparations for the wedding, to confirm the progress and see if there were any changes that needed to be made. After breakfast, Lin Ruoshi followed Yang Gongming to the vegetable garden in the backyard where they stayed for a while yesterday. The morning dew dripped from the leaves of the grass and vegetables, and the vegetables and fruits in the courtyard were especially fresh and juicy. Lin Ruoshi didn't dare to touch those vegetables so easily. She followed behind Yang Gongming and came to an old hut beside the vegetable garden. Yang Gongming had already changed into a blue-gray coarse cloth shirt, which was obviously equipment for farm work. Lin Ruoshi didn't have any particularly suitable clothes, so she gave up. When Yang Gongming opened the door of the wooden house, a pungent smell came out from inside. Lin Ruoshi quickly covered her face and held her breath, but she was very surprised at what was inside. "Hee, Ruoshi, just stand outside and wait. The smell is strong here," Yang Gongming said and walked in. Lin Ruoshi waited curiously for more than 10 minutes before she saw Yang Gongming carrying a plastic bucket on his back. He was also holding something that looked like a bicycle pump in his hand. They were connected together. Yang Gongming explained with a smile, "You've never seen it before, right? Aren't you curious about these fruits and vegetables and farm work? This is a fertilizer dispenser. It contains a prepared urea that can be used to fertilize those beans and eggplants." Lin Ruashi nodded in realization. She was eager to try it out. If it wasn't for the fact that this thing looked dirty and had a pungent smell, and that she was wearing a white dress, she would have tried it out. Then, Grandpa, what should I do? Lin Ruashi asked. When I'm going to fertilize the vegetables later, water them after I'm done with the fertilizer. Don't water them too much, but try to water them evenly. Yin Sanyang came back with a heavy black watering can and passed it to Lin Ruashi. Lin Ruashi took it with a smile. She thought that since Yin Sanyang could carry it with one hand, it shouldn't be a problem for her. However, she almost dropped it on the ground when she took it with one hand. Lin Ruashi quickly picked it up with both hands so that she wouldn't drop the watering can. Young madam, it's full of water, so it's a little heavy. Yin Sanyang smiled kindly. Lin Ruashi looked at the kind old lady in shock. Her mind was filled with disbelief. The watering can weigh at least 40 kilograms, and it was difficult for her to carry it with both hands. But Yin Sanyang carried it like a goose feather. Lin Ruashi, who already knew a lot, finally understood that Yin Sanyang wasn't as simple as she looked. But before she could think about it, Yang Gongming had already led her to the eggplants to fertilize them. Lin Ruashi watched as Yang Gongming carefully fertilized the eggplants. Then, she followed closely and sprinkled water on them evenly. She followed Yang Gongming's instructions and diluted the fertilizer. These eggplants have to be fertilized to grow thicker, but too much nitrogen fertilizer can easily burn the roots. That's why I'm asking you to add some water. Yang Gongming explained some farm work to Lin Ruashi as he busied himself. Lin Ruashi listened attentively. She would ask questions from time to time when she didn't understand something. Gradually, the old man and the young man worked in the vegetable garden. It took them more than an hour to finish their work. When Lin Ruashi put down the watering can and sat on a green stone bench with Yang Gongming to rest, she realized that her dress was soaked in sweat. Her face was red and her hair was slightly messy. A few strands of hair were stuck to her forehead. She panted and looked a little embarrassed. Yin Sanyang brought some herbal tea over. Lin Ruashi took it and gulped it down in an unladylike manner. When she realized that the two elders were looking at her with a smile, the woman lowered her head in embarrassment, feeling a little embarrassed. Hee, what's there to be shy about? This is good, very good. Yang Gongming smiled in satisfaction. Lin Ruashi was puzzled. She didn't know what the old man was talking about, but it seemed like he was praising her. Yin Sanyang smiled. Master, when I saw young madam working, I couldn't help but think of Miss working a long time ago. Miss? Lin Ruashi was puzzled. Who was that? Could it be Yang Gongming's daughter, Yang Jiyu? But why a long time ago? Yang Gongming's eyes flashed with nostalgia. When he saw Lin Ruashi's eyes widen in confusion, he explained slowly, The Miss Sanyang is referring to as my wife. She's also your and Yang Cheng's grandmother, who passed away a long time ago. Lin Ruashi finally understood. She was puzzled and asked, Then why did Grandma Yin call her grandmother Miss? This time, Yin Sanyang spoke. Young madam, you may not know this, but I was actually Mrs. Dowry Maid. After Miss passed away, I stayed in the Yang family to serve master. Lin Ruashi was stunned. She couldn't believe that Yin Sanyang was just a dowry maid. Her calm demeanor, unfathomable eyes, and her recently discovered hidden strength did not seem like something a maid should have. Lin Ruashi couldn't help but feel curious about the in-laws that she hadn't met yet. What kind of woman was she? How could the maid she left behind be so powerful? Grandfather, can you tell me what kind of person my grandmother was? She sounds very special. Lin Ruashi couldn't help but ask. Yang Gongming took a sip of his herbal tea and turned to look at the wide vegetable garden. A nostalgic smile spread across his face. Your grandmother. I don't know where to start, but she passed away not long after Pujuan and Pujuan got married. She was suffering from terminal cancer, and the medical conditions at that time were poor. But now, she might be cured. Your grandmother, she wasn't that beautiful. When she was young, she was no different from any other woman on the street. When she and I married me, we lived in very poor conditions. Although the Yang family was a big family, there were many things that needed to be done in the country. We weren't as business-minded as the Tang family. Your great-grandfather and I were in the army. Our family's income had to be shared with the families of our old subordinates. So we could barely feed the Yang family. Your grandmother was very kind. Even at that time, she often secretly gave some leftovers to the stray dogs and stray cats that passed by the yard. Because of that, she was scolded by her great-grandfather a few times, but she secretly didn't change. Now that I think about it, I often wonder if she used the money she earned from making clothes to buy food for the stray cats and dogs. Hee hee. Listening to Yang Gongming talking about the past, Lin Ruoshi seemed to have flipped open a yellowed page in front of her eyes. She fell into various thoughts. After Pujuan was born, the living conditions of our family became better. After my father passed away, I took over the position of the head of the family. At the same time, because of my leadership in the Vietnam War, which hastened the end of the war, I was promoted to the rank of marshal. At that time, I was in the limelight in Beijing. Huaxia had 2 marshals in the 20 years since the founding of the country. The Yang family had almost reached a new peak. And after I entered the central government, the strength of the Yang family increased tremendously, just like the other 3 families. Once a person has money and a comfortable life, they will have all kinds of thoughts that they didn't have before. It was also at that time that your grandfather was a little dizzy. Seeing that the other descendants of the other families were accompanied by a few beauties, I couldn't help but touch a few other women outside. Lin Ruoshi, who was listening just now, couldn't help blushing when she heard this. She looked at Yang Gongming in disbelief. Chapter 946. Yang Gongming smiled nonchalantly. That's all in the past. Ruoshi, you can't be thinking that I've always looked like an old man since I was young, right? No. Lin Ruoshi smiled Shan, not knowing what to say. I'm afraid you're thinking that no wonder Yang Cheng is such a playboy. So it's because he's a playboy, isn't it? Yang Gongming said mischievously. Lin Ruoshi's face reddened because she was guessed correctly. I wasn't the same back then as I am now. The society was very strict back then, and I violated my principles. Unlike Yang Chun, he's living happily now. Yang Gongming shook his head and smiled. Grandpa, let's not talk about this. Did Grandma find out? Lin Ruoshi quickly interrupted. She didn't want Yang Gongming's image to be completely destroyed. Yang Gongming said guiltily, Even if I die, I won't forget that scene. I remember that I was in my room, tidying up my clothes and going out to meet a woman. But I lied to your grandma, saying that I had a private meeting that would be very late. Your grandma was very attentive as she helped me tie my necktie. She even asked me if I wanted some soup to sober up. I felt very guilty and asked her, Aren't you afraid that I'll cheat on you behind your back? Why don't you feel any sense of danger? I tried my best to make it sound like a joke, but I felt very guilty. I was so guilty that I regretted saying that. Guess what your grandmother said at that time? Lin Ruoshi shook her head blankly. She felt a little sour in her heart, as if the scene was replaying in front of her eyes. Yin Sanyang, who was standing at the side, was also lost in thought. Her eyes were filled with nostalgia. Yang Gongming took a deep breath and smiled bitterly. At that time, your grandmother smiled at me very gently, as if she didn't notice anything. She said, No matter what you say, I will believe you. Between a husband and wife, no matter what happens, the most important thing is nothing else but trust. At that time, I stood there like a block of wood, unable to move. I remembered that from the moment I met her, no matter what I said or did, this woman would always look at me with a smile. She never doubted me at all. I remember that night, after I left home, I asked the driver to stop at a park. I didn't go to see that woman, but I sat on a bench in the park and waited in silence until midnight. I asked the driver to buy a bottle of white wine from a roadside stall and drank 2 mouthfuls before returning home. After that, I cut off all communication. However, I originally wanted her to enjoy the rest of her life, but I didn't expect her to have such a hard life. Her son passed away not long after they got married. At this point, Yang Gongming's face, which was full of wrinkles, finally revealed a deep sadness. Yin Sanyang stepped forward and held his shoulder. Master, it's been so many years. Madam has such a good heart. I'm sure she's living well in heaven. Yang Gongming nodded. Yes, I'm already so old. Maybe I can reunite with her in a few more years. Although I didn't teach our son well, at least my grandson didn't let me down. I'm sure my wife won't blame me. Yin Sanyang looked sorrowful. Master, you're still in good health. Don't say that. Yang Gongming shook his head and sighed. Sanyang, if I'm gone, you should give yourself your freedom. My wife and I owe you this life. We can only repay you in the next. Master, Yin Sanyang couldn't help but cover her face and wipe away her tears. Lin Ruoshi, who had been watching and listening to everything, somehow felt crystal cold water droplets landing on her thighs. She subconsciously touched her eyes, only to find that they were already overflowing. The woman sniffed and quickly wiped away the tear stains on her face. Yang Gongming composed himself and grinned at Lin Ruoshi. Ruoshi, did you know that this vegetable garden was left behind by your grandmother? When she was around, I always disliked her for doing farm work instead of being the wife of a senior official. But do you know what she said to me? Lin Ruoshi smiled and shook her head. What did she say? She said that people will lie to you and people will bite the hand that feeds them. But the land won't. As long as you treat the land well, treat it well, and contribute to it, the land will definitely give you the best results. That's why she likes to work with the land and play with the fruits and vegetables. She doesn't like to attend those hypocritical banquets. Lin Ruoshi listened attentively and grinned. If I were a man, I wouldn't be like grandfather. You have such a good wife, but you're still looking for another woman. Oh, you little girl, you're starting to lecture grandfather, Yang Gongming said happily. Lin Ruoshi's beautiful eyes were filled with warmth. This feeling of satisfaction after a long and intimate talk with her family and elders made her feel that time had passed very quickly. At this moment, Yang Gongming extended his hand to Yin Sanyang. Yin Sanyang understood and took out a palm-sized, purplish-red token from her sleeve and handed it to Yang Gongming. Here, take it. Yang Gongming shoved the token into Lin Ruoshi's hands. After Lin Ruoshi received it, she looked at it doubtfully, only to realize that it was a token made of rosewood that emitted a fragrant aroma. There were two lifelike, ferocious beasts carved on both sides of the token with exquisite craftsmanship. It's a qilin, Yang Gongming explained with a smile. This token is carved from Indian red sandalwood. My father obtained a small piece of wood from an Indian politician and had a skilled craftsman carve it. After my father passed away, I kept it with me. Firstly, I missed him, and secondly, the talisman made from red sandalwood and the qilin totem can ward off evil spirits. It's a good memento. India's red sandalwood was almost completely cut down during the Ming dynasty, and it didn't recover until the Qing dynasty. Now, it's even more precious. When Lin Ruoshi heard that it was passed down from Marshal Yang Yi, she quickly declined. Grandpa, please take it back. It's too precious. Sai, just take it. Yang Gongming smiled. Grandpa knows that you must be uncomfortable with my attitude towards Kai Ning yesterday. I didn't mean to give you the cold shoulder. It's just that Kai Ning has suffered a lot for Yang Cheng. I can't treat her badly. Moreover, you're doing it honorably while she doesn't have status. Of course, I have to comfort her to create a harmonious atmosphere. This red sandalwood talisman is a token of my appreciation. I know that Yang Cheng doesn't lack money. It's tacky to give him jewelry. Just accept this talisman. Lin Ruoshi blushed when she heard this. Grandpa, I'm sorry. I didn't think too much. I thought you didn't like me. If I didn't like you, I wouldn't have let you into this house. Yang Gongming laughed. I don't care if you become Yang Cheng's lover. But I can't just let a girl who wants to enter the Yang family's genealogy. Lin Ruoshi heaved a sigh of relief. She felt as if she had eaten honey. Young madam, this red sandalwood talisman has been with the Yang family for 2 generations. Many old generals in the military can recognize it. If you need it in the future, you can use this talisman to request for troops from all the military regions in Huaxia. Of course, with young Master Chen around, I'm afraid you won't have a chance to use it. Lin Ruoshi looked at the fragrant talisman in her hand. She felt a little heavier. When it was lunchtime, Lin Ruoshi felt more comfortable after she took a shower and changed her clothes. When she was having lunch with Yang Gongming, Yang Cheng suddenly said, Dear, What do you want to do in the afternoon and evening? I'll promise you anything today. Lin Ruashi didn't understand. She said in disbelief, "Why are you being so nice for no reason? Are you trying to play your fake democracy with me again?" "No," Yang Chung said gloomily. "When I was counting the days, I realized that today is the 6th of August, the 7th of the 7th month of the lunar calendar. It happens to be the Chinese Valentine's Day. We didn't celebrate Valentine's Day in February. I'll make it up to you this Valentine's Day." Lin Ruashi was taken aback. She smiled faintly. "Then accompany me to Beijing's business district. I haven't run around Beijing properly before." "That's it." "Yes." Lin Ruashi nodded. She didn't want much to begin with. Yang Chung was about to agree when a servant ran in and reported, "Master, someone from the Ning family is here to deliver an invitation." Chapter 9:47. Ning family? Hearing this, Lin Ruashi's rosy cheeks instantly turned pale. She had a complicated look in her eyes and subconsciously tightened her body. Yang Chung frowned. Without waiting for Yang Gongming to speak, he asked, "What invitation?" The servant quickly turned around and said, "Young master, it's an invitation from Ning Guodong from the Ning family. There will be a Chinese Valentine's Day party at the Ning family's autumn villa tonight. The guests are all from the big families in Beijing and the surrounding provinces. The invitation clearly states that young master and young madam are invited to the party." Yang Chung took the invitation from the servant and looked at it. It was true, the couple's names were written on it. "He's quite considerate," Yang Chung sneered. The last time he met Ning Guodong was when he was accompanying the Kai sisters at a nightclub. At that time, Ning Guodong was humiliated by him and knelt on the ground. This time, he still dared to send an invitation. It was obvious that he was up to no good. Yang Gongming drank the bird's nest specially brewed for him and said unhurriedly, "What do you plan to do?" Yang Chung turned around to look at Lin Ruashi and said gently, "If you don't want to go, then we won't go. No one could do anything to us anyway." Lin Ruashi clenched her teeth and hesitated for a while. She shook her head and said, "No, you should go. Your identity is different now. If you don't go, everyone will think that you're afraid of something." "But you—" Yang Chung was worried that the father and son from the Ning family would hurt the woman again. In fact, as long as they appeared, Lin Ruashi would definitely be traumatized. Lin Ruashi forced a smile and said, "Didn't you always say that there are some things that you can't avoid just because you want to? I'm the same. Besides, I've never participated in such a party in Beijing. Just treat it as me going to broaden my horizons. Besides, with you around, you will protect me too." Yang Chung hesitated for a moment before laughing heartily. "That's right. I also want to see what they're up to. Let's go meet them." Since he had decided to attend such a grand Chinese Valentine's Day party, there was a lot of preparation work. He was busy fetching the necessary clothes and accessories and figuring out the specific location. Before he knew it, it was already evening. Yang Chung did not intend to let the Yang family's driver drive over. Instead, he chose a fiery red McLaren MP4 from the garage, a two-door supercar. This car was a supercar with a carbon fiber cockpit that McLaren had grafted a lot of F1 racing technology to compete with its arch-rival Ferrari. It was a supercar with a pure racing bloodline. The iconic 3.8-liter V8 twin-turbo engine, coupled with the self-developed dual-clutch gearbox. This luxury car only needed 3 seconds to accelerate to 100 kilometers per hour, and its top speed could reach 320 kilometers per hour. When Lin Ruashi, who was wearing a black off-shoulder chiffon dress, walked to the side of the car, the woman's elegant and refined appearance, coupled with the fiery red supercar, was a visual impact. "Why did you choose this kind of car?" Lin Ruashi frowned. "Do you want to drive fast again?" Yang Chung was indeed itching. One of his greatest joys was racing in places with many cars. Unfortunately, the traffic jam in Beijing might not even give him a chance to drive. "What are you thinking?" "I just think that since we're going, we have to do it in style. Sitting in a car is not exciting, and we can't lose in terms of momentum," Yang Chung said with a serious face. Lin Ruashi couldn't argue with him, so she could only obediently sit in the car. Autumn Villa was a luxury resort of the Ning family in the western suburbs of Beijing. Most of the time, it was a membership-style luxury resort. The two sides of the villa were densely covered with green mountains, and in the middle was a huge man-made lake. The water flowed down from the mountains, and it was extremely beautiful. Because the geographical location was relatively quiet, it occupied a vast area, and there was an exclusive highway on the periphery. The traffic was very convenient. Today, as the young master of the Ning family, Ning Guodong, held a Chinese Valentine's Day banquet. It was nothing more than a routine gathering of high-ranking officials and dignitaries. After all, many of the official matters of the Huaxia people were discussed while eating and drinking. When Yang Chen's engine roared, the dazzling low-floor supercar entered the vision of the people outside the hall and immediately attracted a lot of different gazes. When Yang Cheng held Lin Ruoxi's hand and got off the car, they walked toward the stairs leading to the banquet hall. The guests and waiters who passed by couldn't help but glance at Lin Ruoxi with astonished eyes. Yang Cheng couldn't help but feel a little proud. He moved closer to Lin Ruoxi and whispered in her ear, "Honey, you really made me proud." Lin Ruoxi was nervous. With so many people staring at her, she regretted dressing up. She replied calmly, "It's so weird. I should have worn more." Yang Cheng then noticed that Lin Ruoxi's snow-white shoulders were exposed to the air. There was also a lot of delicate skin on her chest. Although it wasn't very big, under the lights, the woman was like the most dazzling white jade sculpture. Many men tried their best to peel off the chiffon dress with their eyes. I miscalculated. Yang Cheng suddenly felt a little jealous. He took off his suit jacket, leaving only a white shirt. Yang Cheng then put the jacket on Lin Ruoxi. "Hey, what are you doing?" Lin Ruoxi could only feel her cheeks burning. How could this man put on more clothes for her in public? Seeing that the people around her were looking at her in surprise, Lin Ruoxi wanted to hide in a hole in the ground. Yang Cheng said seriously, "Just put it on for me. Can't you see that those people are no different from perverts? You're already a married woman. How embarrassing is it to walk in the crowd with so little clothes?" Lin Ruoxi was so angry that she almost laughed. Just now he said that she gave him face, and now he said that she showed too much. Sometimes this man was no different from a stingy little boy with candy. Why don't you say that someone used his hands to take off a girl's clothes? Lin Ruoxi whispered sarcastically. Yang Cheng boasted shamelessly, "I know, someone is definitely not me." Lin Ruoxi rolled her eyes cutely, too lazy to talk to this scoundrel. Although she felt that wearing a skirt and a suit was especially shameful, Lin Ruoxi knew that going against Yang Cheng would cause even more shameful things, so she could only endure it in silence. As soon as he walked into the spacious banquet hall, he saw Ning Guodong, who was dressed in a white suit, with a few young masters from influential families, drinking with each other not far from the entrance. Seeing Yang Cheng and Lin Ruoxi enter, Ning Guodong immediately walked over with his men. His gaze fell on Lin Ruoxi's strange outfit, and when he saw the woman's face that had captivated him like before, Ning Guodong's eyes couldn't help but burst out with a fire that he had missed for a long time. And this kind of gaze that was filled with passion just happened to cause Lin Ruoxi's heart to ache. Yang Cheng very naturally wrapped his arm around the woman's slender waist, allowing Lin Ruoxi to relax a little. "I really have to warmly welcome the eldest grandson of the Yang family, who has been separated for more than 20 years, Mr. Yang Cheng. As soon as he returned to Beijing, he and his wife accepted my invitation," Ning Guodong said with a calm smile, as if all the previous conflicts didn't exist. With Ning Guodong's mention, the surrounding people finally knew who this unfamiliar young man and woman were. A lot of people couldn't help but look over. Many of them were considering if they should greet him before morning. After all, judging from the current situation, Yang Gongming obviously valued Yang Chen more than Yang Lai. Moreover, the matter of Yang Pejuan being hospitalized was not a secret, so the outside world had always been guessing about the change in power in the Yang family. Yang Cheng sneered and looked at Ning Guodong's knees mockingly, saying, "As expected of someone who will be in politics in the future, you're really good at pretending. Why, have you forgotten about the time I made you kneel down so quickly? Or are you deliberately pretending that this is the first time we've met?" The surrounding guests all sucked in a breath of cold air. They had also heard that Ning Guodong had been forced to kneel down in a nightclub, but because of the pressure from the Ning family, they didn't dare to spread it too much. Unexpectedly, that matter was actually caused by Yang Chung. Lin Ruoshi didn't know about this and couldn't help but look at Yang Chung with worry. Ning Guodong's expression changed, but he quickly said, "It's just a young man playing in a nightclub. Brother Yang likes to joke too much. Today's occasion can't be as casual as last time. I think Brother Yang should pay attention to his words, so as not to cause unnecessary misunderstanding." Yang Chung saw that this guy was thick-skinned, so he didn't waste his effort. After all, the main purpose of this party was to go through the motions and officially show his face. As for making a name for himself in Beijing's upper-class society, Yang Chung wasn't interested at all. At this moment, a somewhat familiar tall figure walked over. "Hi, Mr. Yang, we meet again." Chapter 948. This tall and thin Caucasian man, who spoke English, had an unshaven beard, and was wearing a somewhat crooked suit, appeared to be quite enthusiastic as soon as he walked over. Yang Chung pondered for a moment before remembering and saying, "You are Weber? I'm so glad that you still remember me. Oh, is this your wife? What a beautiful lady." Weber walked forward, holding a glass of champagne in one hand, looking rather carefree and unrestrained. When he saw Lin Ruoshi, his eyes lit up, and he wanted to take Lin Ruoshi's hand and kiss it. However, how could Yang Chung let his woman be held by another man and even kissed? He directly pulled Lin Ruoshi behind him, causing Weber to miss. "Oh God, I forgot this is Huaxia." Weber laughed awkwardly. Lin Ruoshi asked with lingering fear, "Hubby, who is he?" "He's an F1 racer from Austria's Red Bull racing team, Weber. Previously in Zhonghai, he competed with me in the car club under the Maple Group," Yang Chen said. When Lin Ruoshi heard this, she couldn't help but snort lightly. "I think you're going to make a woman happy." Of course, he was referring to Tang Wan. Yang Chung pretended not to hear and asked doubtfully, "Why are you here?" Weber took a sip of champagne and said, "The F1 Grand Prix in Zhonghai has just ended. August is a free period, and the Belgian Grand Prix will only be held at the end of the month. I was invited, so naturally, I came over to see my old friend." At this time, Ning Guodong walked over and said with a friendly smile, "Weber has always been a little unwilling to lose to Brother Yang last time. Today, I came here to compete with Brother Yang." Not bad, Mr. Yang. I've been in a better state recently. I practiced some new cornering techniques. How about we compete in a round?" Weber said excitedly. Lin Ruoshi quickly pulled on Yang Cheng's sleeve and whispered, "Don't go, I don't want to stay here alone." Yang Cheng patted the woman's hand. He had some understanding in his heart. He smiled evilly and said, "If we compete just because you say so, then wouldn't I be degrading myself? I'm here on behalf of the Yang family today. I can't possibly tarnish the reputation of my old man." Webb scratched his head. "Huaxia is really troublesome. Then how do you think we can compete? Unless you have a good name," Yang Chun said with a smile. Ning Guodong suddenly thought of something and said, "How about this? Weber, didn't you just win the Grand Prix in Zhonghai? Why don't you use your prize money as a wager?" Many people around them liked racing, so they naturally liked this kind of situation. They hurriedly chimed in, but as soon as these words came out, Wilbur looked embarrassed. "Why are you being so stingy? You're someone with an annual income of more than 10 million USD. Do you still care about this little bit of money?" Ning Guodong pretended to be dissatisfied. Yang Chun burst into laughter, causing the people around him scratch their heads in confusion. "Brother Yang, what are you laughing at?" Ning Guodong felt that something was wrong. Yang Chung sneered and said, "Let me explain on behalf of Weber. Why is he in a difficult position? In the F1 Grand Prix, there's only a trophy in every branch, no prize money. Their driver's income is annual salary or other advertising income. Aren't you asking Weber to take out the prize money for the champion of the race to create something out of nothing?" In this way, everyone felt rather awkward. Many of them watched F1, but they also wanted to feel rich. After all, F1 was a thrilling event that burned money. But who would study how the drivers were paid in that industry? Weber heaved a sigh of relief. Yang Chung had helped him say it, so he didn't have to refute Ning Guodong. Mr. Yang, it seems like you have a good understanding of F1. Weber had a good impression of him. Yang Chung shrugged. This is common sense. These words made Ning Guodong lose face. After all, he kept saying that he was Weber's good friend. Lin Ruoshi looked at Yang Chung with interest, wondering why he knew so much about these boring things. At this time, Weber said, "There's no prize money, but I'm not poor either. How about I bet $100,000 with Mr. Yang? No matter who wins or loses, we will use our wager money, a total of $200,000, to donate to the children in the poor areas of Huaxia. I think $200,000 should be enough to build a primary school." Of course, Yang Chung wasn't interested. He turned around and asked Lin Ruoshi, "Wife, whatever you say." Unexpectedly, Lin Ruoshi's eyes lit up. "Compete, of course we have to compete. With $200,000, we can build 2 schools in the mountains." Yang Chung almost stumbled and fell to the ground. "Didn't you tell me not to compete just now?" "I didn't say I was going to help the children," Lin Ruoshi said matter-of-factly. Yang Chung gritted his teeth. "Since you're so rich, why don't you donate it yourself? I'll only have $200,000 after I finish driving. It's just a drizzle." Lin Ruoshi rolled her eyes at him. "My money needs to be invested to earn more money, to feed more people. You're the one who paid for the gambling. What does it have to do with me?" Yang Chung let out a long sigh. He finally understood that this woman could distinguish clearly. She could squeeze as much of her husband's money as she could, and she wouldn't pull out a single cent of her own money. Besides, this name is so nice to hear. In order to donate to the children in the poor areas, we'll fight against the foreign racers. Lin Ruoshi shook Yang Cheng's hand and said, "I know you'll be safe, so you can go in peace." When the crowd saw the sweet interaction between the young couple, they were all envious and jealous. Ning Guodong saw that Lin Ruoshi had a completely different expression when facing him and when facing Yang Chung. He couldn't help but grit his teeth tightly, and a dark look flashed across his eyes. In the end, Yang Chung couldn't resist his wife's overflowing love and could only compete with Weber in a charity match that was bound to be at a loss. The Qishi song and dance performance that was about to start at the evening party was also postponed. After all, watching a road race would be more attractive. The location of the competition was set on the circular road of the villa and the highway outside. Since this entire area was the territory of the Ning family, it was only a matter of a word to seal the road. Yang Chung sighed in his heart. As expected, being a high official of Huaxia was the most fulfilling thing. This road was also sealed off just like that, and it directly became private. In order to let everyone see the competition clearly, the villa also specially let the filming team board 2 helicopters, and at the same time, the broadcast signal was connected to the big TV screen in the party hall. The car used by Weber was a yellow Ferrari 458 lent to him by Ning Guodong. This 8-cylinder 2-door supercar was launched 3 years ago, and it had a larger displacement than Yang Cheng's McLaren, but its overall strength was comparable. When everything was ready, the starter fired the gun. Boom! Boom! The sound of the Ferrari's engine was particularly loud, and it violently shot out with a yellow lightning bolt. Yang Cheng's McLaren's reaction was slightly slower. After all, compared with the long-term training of a professional driver, Yang Chung was always lacking in some details. But soon, because the McLaren's acceleration was slightly faster, the red lightning immediately kept pace with the yellow car. In the party hall of the villa, everyone looked at the big screen on the clear image taken by the helicopter at low altitude, and couldn't help but be in an uproar. This kind of entertainment project, which required a large amount of manpower and material resources, could only be played by the children of big families in Yanjing. Lin Ruoshi also stood nervously in the middle of the crowd. Yang Chung was not there, and she subconsciously tightened the suit jacket around her, and then a little regretful. If she had known earlier, she would have let him compete. It was a little cold, standing alone among so many strangers. At this time, a pretty waitress came over with a plate of cocktails and asked with a formal smile, "Miss, would you like some wine?" Lin Ruoshi shook her head slightly. She was not a person who often drank. The waitress nodded and walked past Lin Ruashi. However, because of her high heels, she accidentally slipped on the floor, lost her balance, and fell toward Lin Ruashi. Lin Ruashi had no time to dodge and saw the girl completely fall on her, and the plate of wine spilled out, splashing all over her. I'm sorry. The waitress grabbed onto Lin Ruashi so that she didn't fall to the ground and repeatedly begged to apologize. I'm sorry, Mississippi. I just came, and I don't wear high heels before. Please forgive me. The men and women here were not to be underestimated. She, as a waitress, naturally did not dare to offend them for fear of angering them. Lin Ruashi looked at the wine all over her body, and the smell of alcohol wafted out. It was wet and stuck to her body, and she immediately frowned. Chapter 949. She was going to question why a newbie came to work without any training. After all, this wasn't some low-class place. But looking at the pretty waitress's face that was about to collapse with tears in her eyes, Lin Ruashi felt that she was probably a girl in her 20s, and it was inevitable that she would be nervous for a new job, so she couldn't bear to see her like this. Forget it. Be more careful next time. Tell me where the washroom is. Lin Ruashi planned to tidy up her clothes. At least she couldn't be completely wet. The waitress hurriedly said, "Let me bring you there. I can also help you find a set of clean clothes because some customers need to change their dirty clothes occasionally." Lin Ruashi looked at the car race that had just started on the big screen and thought that it would take at least 10 minutes for Yang Chang to return. Although she didn't bring her phone, she wasn't afraid that she wouldn't be able to find it, so she nodded and agreed. Under the waitress's lead, they bypassed the crowd, and Lin Ruashi walked into a heavy red wooden door at the side of the banquet hall. Walking along the luxuriously decorated corridor, stepping on the soft carpet, Lin Ruashi followed the waitress to the secluded entrance of the ladies' washroom. "Miss, please come in. I'll get you some clothes," the waitress said guiltily. Lin Ruashi nodded at her politely and walked into the washroom. As soon as she walked in, the waitress standing at the door raised her head. Her innocent eyes turned gloomy and a cold smile appeared on her face. The washroom was filled with a faint lemon fragrance. After all, it was a high-class banquet hall. The washroom was cleaned every hour and there wasn't a single trace of dirt. What made Lin Ruashi a little surprised was that there weren't any other women in such a big washroom. But she thought that maybe it was because the banquet had just started and no one needed it yet, so she didn't bother too much. This made things easier for her. After taking off Yang Cheng's suit, Lin Ruashi stood in front of the mirror and started to wash her arms that were stained by the wine and used a tissue to wipe the wine off her dress. Just as she was busy, a fiery red figure suddenly appeared in the mirror. It was a charming woman who looked young but was full of charm. She wore a low-cut red gown with a big round neck, but it was a sexy wraparound miniskirt design. Her buttocks perked up and her breasts were plump. Her entire body was like a ripe peach. Lin Ruashi was shocked. She didn't even hear a single sound when this woman came in, and then she appeared behind her inexplicably. "Your skin is really pink and tender," the woman said with a seductive smile. Lin Ruashi clutched her chest and looked at the woman in fear. Who are you?" The woman giggled. "You don't recognize me?" Lin Ruashi frowned and shook her head blankly. "I recognize you." The woman smiled sinisterly. "Especially your husband." Lin Ruashi suddenly realized that the visitor did not come with good intentions. She subconsciously moved toward the bathroom door. "What are you trying to do?" Lin Ruashi tried her best to ask calmly. The woman approached her aggressively, and an evil smile appeared on the corner of her lips. "My precious son is very interested in you, but he suffered so much and still couldn't get anything out of it. As his mother, of course I have to help him." "Son," Lin Ruashi mumbled a few times and suddenly thought of something. She said in disbelief, "You're Luo Tsuishan? Ah, such a smart girl. No wonder my Guodong likes you." Luo Tsuishan smiled charmingly. "Impossible." Lin Ruashi retreated. "Aren't you dead? How'd you grow up like this?" Although the woman in front of her had the charm of a mature woman, she looked like a young woman in her 20s. She was actually the dead Luo Tsuishan. The previous Luo Tsuishan is indeed dead, but the new Luo Tsuishan is alive and well. Lin Ruoshi only felt that it was extremely terrifying. She subconsciously turned around and was about to run out. However, a tall and straight figure was already at the door, blocking the entrance. "It's you? Why, Miss Lin doesn't want to see me that much." Ning Guodong smiled elegantly. Lin Ruoshi finally understood. All of this was planned. No wonder the waiter coincidentally spilled so much alcohol on her. No wonder there was no one in the bathroom. It was obvious that this was a trap waiting for her to jump into. Lin Ruoshi clenched her teeth. "We better not do anything rash. Yang Cheng will be back soon. Don't worry, before he comes back, we can do it," Ning Guodong said as he walked closer step by step. Lin Ruoshi could only continue to retreat. She was so anxious that her eyes were filled with tears. If you dare to do anything to me, my husband will kill all of you." "Huh?" Luo Tsuishan laughed at the side. "So what? If I don't touch you, would Yang Cheng not kill his mother and son? Our position is destined to be one of life and death. Instead of getting any benefits, why not do all the good things and fight with Yang Cheng? Wouldn't that be more interesting?" Lin Ruoshi didn't expect Luo Tsuishan to have such thoughts, and her face immediately turned ashen. Ning Guodong began to pull off his tie, then took off his white suit and threw them to the side. "Ruoshi, I've been waiting for this moment for too long. Don't worry, Yang Cheng will need at least 10 minutes to find this place. Before that, I'll let you experience something special." Lin Ruoshi gradually retreated to the corner of the wall and quickly shook her head. You can't do that. You can't do that to me." "Why can't I? Even a bastard like Yang Cheng can do it. Why can't I, Ning Guodong?" Ning Guodong's hands were firmly pressed against the wall, confining Lin Ruoshi in a small area, and slowly approaching. At the side, Luo Tsuishan chuckled and said, "Son, you have to hurry up. Let Mom see a good show, then Mom can leave on Sheen." Ning Guodong turned around and smiled evilly. "Mom, I'm planning to wait for Yang Cheng to come, just in time for the show to start, so I have to slowly enjoy it. Since that's the case, then Mom will wait patiently." After saying that, Luo Tsuishan waved towards the outside of the bathroom. The waitress who had brought Lin Ruoshi over earlier respectfully came forward. "Madam, what are your orders?" "Where's Ning Guangyao?" "Premier Ning will arrive at the venue in 5 minutes," the woman replied. A trace of excitement flashed across Luo Tsuishan's eyes. She waved her hand, indicating for the waitress to leave. At this moment, Lin Ruoshi, who was unable to escape from Ning Guodong, had her heart in her throat. Seeing that Ning Guodong's face was getting closer and closer, Lin Ruoshi cried out involuntarily, "You can't do this. You're mine." "It's mine." Ning Guodong froze for a moment, then squinted his eyes and laughed evilly. "It's yours." "What?" "Say it." "It's me." Lin Ruoshi's eyes were filled with tears. She looked at the man in front of her whose face was almost distorted, but she couldn't say anything. Luo Tsuishan stood at the door of the bathroom. A sinister look flashed across her eyes. "Son, don't worry about him. She just wants to stall for time. Don't believe anything she says." "I think so too." Ning Guodong snorted coldly. "I know you're very good at playing tricks. Back then, the Su family in Zhonghai and the Zheng family in Beijing were all destroyed by you. No matter what you say, I won't believe you. You don't have to worry about my safety. Even if I do have sex with you with my dad around, Yang Cheng won't really do anything to me." With that, Ning Guodong kissed Lin Ruoshi's rosy lips. However, Lin Ruoshi shrunk her body in a panic, and Ning Guodong missed his target. Lin Ruoshi crawled out from below. "Humph, little bitch, you still want to escape?" Luo Tsuishan's red figure flashed, and before Lin Ruoshi could react, she had already grabbed Lin Ruoshi's wrist and dragged her back to the corner of the wall. Lin Ruoshi could not resist at all. Ning Guodong looked at his mother's valiant speed and skills in disbelief. But very quickly, all of his attention was focused on Lin Ruoshi. "Dear Ruoshi, don't be naughty anymore, or else my mother will be rough." Ning Guodong laughed maniacally and was about to pounce on her. "No, I'm your sister." In the nick of time, Lin Ruoshi blurted out. Ning Guodong's posture stiffened. His face was filled with astonishment, while Luo Tsuishan, who was at the door, was furious. Guodong, what are you spacing out for? Quickly get on top of her. Why do you care about this little slut's words? Luo Tsuishan scolded. Lin Ruoshi shook her head forcefully and said with tears in her eyes, I'm serious. Don't listen to her, I'm related to you by blood. It was as if a heavy bell had been struck in Ning Guodong's mind. He stood there stiffly with a blank face. Guodong, Luo Tsuishan scolded. What are you hesitating for? Are you going to wait for Yang Cheng to come and save her? Ning Guodong suddenly came to his senses. He shook his head and said with a ferocious expression, Slut, you're trying to lie to me? Sister? Huh. When did my mother give birth to a sister for me? Why don't I know? Damn it. You're still playing with me like a monkey? As he said that, Ning Guodong no longer cared about anything. His hands forcefully grabbed towards Lin Ruoshi's chest and waist. At the same time that Lin Ruoshi felt a wave of despair, a strong, rebellious emotion suddenly burst forth. As if it had been summoned by something, the Fengxiang bracelet on the woman's wrist suddenly let out a phoenix cry that pierced through the clouds. Chapter 950. A dark green glow was emitted from the bracelet. Like a mist, it surrounded Lin Ruoshi. Bam! An irresistible force pushed Ning Guodong, who was about to touch Lin Ruoshi, into the air. With a painful cry, Ning Guodong flew backwards with a pale face. Luo Tsuishan reacted quickly and rushed forward to catch her son, so that Ning Guodong did not fall to the ground with bruises all over his face. Even so, the sudden burst of dark green mist from Lin Ruoshi's body stunned both mother and son. What was that? It looked like a cloud of mist, but it also looked like a swirling flame. But what kind of flame was dark green? Lin Ruoshi was shocked as well. She looked at the Fengxiang bangle on her wrist, which was emitting a green flame. It felt like a dream. Suddenly, Lin Ruoshi recalled the mysterious words that Yang Cheng said to her yesterday. Wifey, you should wear it from now on. Don't take it off. So he already knew that this bangle could protect her? While Lin Ruoshi felt relieved, she was also annoyed. This guy kept everything from her. Why couldn't he just tell her that this bangle was a magical weapon? What Lin Ruoshi did not know was that the reason why Yang Cheng did not tell her was because this Fengxiang bangle was not only a magical weapon, but also a treasure that could not be detected by anyone below the tribulation stage. This was also the reason why Yin Sanyang did not know that this bangle was special, even though she had stayed in the Yang family for more than 10 years. Yang Cheng could tell that this bangle was similar to the Qianyuan Tiangang bangle. At the same time, he vaguely realized that such a high-end magical weapon might be a superior one. It might even be a celestial item that was passed down from the ancient times, like Si Yao Qi Ching said. So, instead of making everyone feel uneasy, it was better to let Lin Ruoshi wear it to protect Lin Ruoshi. As long as the wearer felt a sense of danger, this Fengxiang bangle would activate the restriction. Guodong, are you alright? Luo Tsuishan asked with concern as she hugged her son. Ning Guodong wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and shook his head. I'm fine. Mom, there's something wrong with that bitch. Yang Cheng must have predicted something. She's not that capable. Then how do I get close to her? Ning Guodong asked anxiously. Luo Tsuishan clenched her teeth, and in a flash, she appeared in front of Lin Ruoshi. The green flames that were surrounding Lin Ruoshi and were about to disappear suddenly rose again. This time, because Luo Tsuishan's attack was more intense, the flames' counterattack was stronger too. Lin Ruoshi only closed her eyes tightly and stretched out her hand with the jadeite bangle in front of her. The moment Luo Tsuishan's hand entered the flames, she felt a scorching heat coming towards her. At the same time, it was even harder to resist the powerful force of the protective barrier. Boom! Luo Tsuishan was also sent flying. But now that she was reborn, her skills were better than others, and her physique was excellent. She somersaulted in midair and landed steadily. Seeing that she was still fine, Lin Ruoshi's heart was at ease. She nervously confronted each other, not daring to slack off. At the same time, the green flames slowly descended again and returned to the Fengxiang bracelet. Damn it! It seems like that strange thing was caused by the bracelet on her hand. Mom can't get close to her either. Luo Tsuishan said angrily. Ning Guodong said anxiously, Mom, there's not enough time. Yang Cheng will be back soon. Didn't you say that Dad would come here to protect me? Where is he? Luo Tsuishan glared at Lin Ruoxi unwillingly and reached out to touch Ning Guodong's cheek, saying, he must have arrived at the villa. As long as you walk out, you will naturally see him. Ning Guodong nodded. All right, I understand. Then what about this woman? Luo Tsuishan sneered. You didn't even see her come to the bathroom. So why do you care what she does? Ning Guodong had a look of understanding on his face. He grinned evilly and nodded. I know what to do. Luo Tsuishan chuckled a few times and didn't say anything else. With a flash of red, she left the scene. Ning Guodong looked at the empty corridor. He was still a little unused to his mother's current whereabouts, but he quickly regained his senses. After entering the bathroom, he glanced at Lin Ruoxi, who was still very nervous in the corner. With a chuckle, Ning Guodong grabbed his tie and suit and left as he put them on. Seeing Ning Guodong walk out of the bathroom, Lin Ruoxi's body went limp and she leaned against the wall, gasping for breath before that. On the highway outside the Autumn Water Villa, two streaks of lightning, one red and one yellow, flashed past. Yang Cheng and Weber, who had already finished running from the outer racetrack and entered the last big bend, were still neck and neck. In fact, on such a large track with only two cars, it was already very difficult to determine the victor. In addition, Yang Cheng felt that he had to donate money whether he won or lost, so he didn't have much of a competitive heart. As long as he didn't lose to Weber, Yang Cheng would be happy to accept it. Finally, a minute later, amidst the loud roar of the motor, Yang Cheng's McLaren and Weber's Ferrari crossed the finish line side by side. The guests who were watching the results outside the banquet hall all applauded the two of them as they got out of the car. Especially some of the guests who wanted to curry favor with Yang Cheng and wanted to get to know him, they continuously flattered Yang Cheng. Even more people had heard the news that Yang Cheng had killed two of the higher-ups who opposed him in the Yang family yesterday. They were so afraid that they didn't dare to step forward. Weber shook hands with Yang Cheng and sighed. I'm very curious. Why is Mr. Yang able to drive so well even though he's not a racer? Is it because Mr. Yang used to be a special forces soldier? Yang Cheng smiled and said, Why are you driving? To put it nicely, it's for my career. To be honest, it's for money. Weber was also direct. Yang Cheng smiled meaningfully and said, I'm driving for my life. My starting point is much higher than yours. Weber was stunned. Although he didn't understand, he still smiled and nodded. Following that, the two of them wrote a check for the $100,000 that they were going to donate. Only then did this entertaining racing bet come to an end. When he returned to the banquet hall, Yang Cheng realized that Lin Ruoxi was nowhere to be seen. At the same time, Ning Guodong was nowhere to be seen. With a hint of coldness in his eyes, Yang Cheng's gaze turned to a door at the side of the hall. At this moment, Ning Guodong was walking out of the room in a suit. Everyone's gazes converged on Ning Guodong as he walked onto the stage of the banquet hall. Ning Guodong said to the microphone in a graceful manner, Everyone, it seems that the charity race has been very enjoyable. Next, I won't say much. I announce that the performance of the Qixi party has officially begun. Thunderous applause rang out in the banquet hall. The music started, and the lights began to dim. A large number of spotlights fell on the stage, and the dancers filed out. The entire banquet hall had entered the true moment of the party. As for the host, Ning Guodong, after the announcement, he silently sat at the front row of the table, as if nothing had happened. Yang Cheng spread out his divine sense and searched the entire venue. His face darkened, and he quickly walked to the door that Ning Guodong had just come out from. Entering the corridor, he saw Lin Ruoxi, who was still wearing her suit, but there were a lot of wine stains on her skirt. Her eyes were red, and she was walking over in low spirits. Yang Cheng's eyes were filled with pity, but he wasn't very excited. All of this was actually within his expectations. Did you say it out loud? Yang Chung asked. Lin Ruoshi slowly raised her head and looked at the man with a calm face and gentle gaze. You thought of all of this, didn't you? Lin Ruoshi asked faintly. The car race deliberately lured you away, and you deliberately let yourself fall into their trap so that they would let their guard down. Then, using the advantage that I have the Fengxiang bracelet and nothing will happen to me, you let them plot against me? Yang Chung sighed. I only guessed some intentions, but I didn't think too much about it. I also don't know what Ning Guodong will do. Of course, I also hope that he won't do anything senseless. Why didn't you tell me earlier that he might set a trap? Lin Ruoshi asked coldly. Because I know that if you were prepared in advance, with your kindness, you definitely wouldn't have the heart to see that guy's true appearance. Yang Chung sighed. I only hope that you can see more people clearly while ensuring your safety. You're so cruel, Lin Ruoshi said in a low voice. That's for your own good. Only when you see this yourself will you be able to cut off those unrealistic thoughts. I don't have any thoughts. Lin Ruoshi turned her head away. Yang Chung smiled helplessly. You can't hide it from me. In this world, no one knows you better than me. Although you pretended not to care, you definitely still have some fantasies about the two men from the Ning family. I just want you to understand that Ning Guodong is beyond saving. If you hate him now, I can kill him on the spot. Are you crazy? Kill him here? Then how are you going to live in Huaxia and Beijing in the future? Lin Ruoshi said anxiously. Yang Chung smiled casually. To me, the only thing I have to consider is whether or not my wife will get hurt, angry, complain, and leave a shadow in her heart. As for the rest, I don't care at all. Chapter 9:51. Looking at the man who said these words so casually, Lin Ruoshi had mixed feelings for a moment. Sweetness and sourness surged through her heart, and she struggled in contradiction, not knowing how to open her mouth. I don't know. Lin Ruoshi shook her head blankly. My mind is in a mess right now. It's like my eyes are filled with mist when I wake up in the morning. I know the road is right in front of me, but I still don't dare to take the first step. That's because there's no light in front of you. Yang Chung patted his chest. If your light can't guide you, you can borrow mine. Lin Ruoshi smiled sadly. How can a person's heart be borrowed? Forget it. Yang Chung walked forward, held one of the woman's hands, and said, If I go out and kill Ning Guodong now, how long will you be sad? No. Lin Ruoshi hurriedly shook her head and said, Don't do such a stupid thing, okay? Just now, Luo Tsuishan said that she had already sent someone to call Premier Ning over. They will be here soon. If you make a move, it will be a complete mess. What? Luo Tsuishan? Yang Chung was a little surprised. Yes. Lin Ruoshi frowned and said, It was Luo Tsuishan who helped Ning Guodong planet. She became so young, and her speed and strength are so strong. It seems like she has gone through some kind of huge improvement. Yang Chung sneered. Yin Buan really has some skills. He saved the dead, and he can even transform a woman with no foundation into a superwoman. Yang Chung was not surprised by Luo Tsuishan's resurrection. He already knew the whole story when he was at the Tang sect. However, even Luo Tsuishan could be modified to have strength, so Yang Chung was a little surprised. It seemed that Yin Buan's genetic technology had already reached a whole new level. It wasn't easy for a person with no physical attributes to become stronger. First of all, whether the genes in the body could fuse with powerful genes was an extremely difficult problem. If Luo Tsuishan's body was also modified by his own genes, it would be very difficult to find her without seeing her. However, Yang Chung was relieved about one thing. Since godhood was needed to recreate the gods, Luo Tsuishan, who already had her own personality, should not be transformed into a god with the ability of the law of space. In that case, her threat was limited to her physical body. What are you going to do? Luo Tsuishan seems to be here for revenge, Lin Ruoshi said worriedly. I'm not afraid of her coming. I'm just afraid that she won't be willing to see me when she comes. Yang Chung smiled in relief. You just have to take care of yourself. Let's go out. As he spoke, he pulled Lin Ruoshi's hand and walked out. However, after taking 2 steps, he realized that Lin Ruoshi didn't want to move. Yang Chung turned around and said helplessly, "Darling, you can't not go out just because you don't want to see that father and son pair, right? If you really don't want to see them, why stop me from killing them?" "Them." Lin Ruoshi paled and said, "You even want to be the premier?" Yang Chung said indifferently, "As long as he dares to hurt you, I will dare to kill him. If it wasn't for your feelings, I might have already made a move against him." Thinking back to their previous meeting, when Ning Guangyao refused to acknowledge Lin Ruoshi, Yang Chung gnashed his teeth in hatred. Lin Ruoshi took a deep breath, pursed her lips, and said, "Let's go home directly. Don't worry about them. I have nothing to do right now anyway. After tonight's party is over, I won't meet them again." "That might not be the case. Ning Guodong will definitely come looking for you," Yang Chung said. Lin Ruoshi stubbornly said, "Just listen to me. Could it be that killing 2 generations of the #1 family in Yanjing is such a casual matter?" Yang Chung couldn't do anything to her, so he could only temporarily put down the idea of going all out. When the 2 of them walked back to the banquet hall hand in hand, they didn't go to the front row of the banquet and directly walked out of the main door. When the surrounding guests saw the pair of attention leaving just like that, they were more or less puzzled. After all, the banquet had just started. At this moment, a few black Audi A8 stopped at the entrance. A group of bodyguards cautiously got out of the car in an orderly manner. After looking around, they opened the rear door of the car in the middle. Ning Guangyao slowly got out of the car with a calm expression and a smile on his face. "It's Premier Ning? The Premier is also here today? I didn't receive any notice." The banquet hall suddenly became chaotic. When Ning Guodong saw Yang Chung coming out, his heart tightened. But now that he saw Ning Guangyao was here, the smile on his face became very relaxed. And Lin Ruoshi, who was about to go out, subconsciously trembled. Seeing the middle-aged man gradually walking into the hall and getting closer, her hand involuntarily tightened around Yang Cheng's. Yang Chung turned his head and looked at the woman's complicated emotions. He sighed softly and said, "Let's go, just ignore it." Lin Ruoshi nodded in a daze and moved her feet with difficulty. She leaned against Yang Chung and continued to walk out of the door. Ning Guangyao, who had just stepped through the door, immediately noticed the 2 people walking opposite him. When he saw Lin Ruoshi, who was wearing a suit jacket and had her head lowered in silence, Ning Guangyao's pupils instantly contracted and his face stiffened. Following that, his eyes revealed some joy and excitement, as well as a trace of guilt. When Yang Chung and Lin Ruoshi were about to pass each other, Ning Guangyao couldn't help but say, "Miss Lin." Involuntarily, Lin Ruoshi's footsteps paused. The group of people who had just come up to greet Ning Guangyao all stood there curiously. At most, they only knew that Lin Ruoshi was the CEO of Yulei International. But in Beijing, the CEO of a multinational company was nothing at all. Why would this young madam of a Yang family make Premier Ning Guangyao look at her differently? After all, if Ning Guangyao wanted to greet someone, he should start with Yang Chung. Yang Chung furrowed his brows. Seeing that Lin Ruoshi was biting her thin lips and standing there motionlessly, he couldn't help but raise his head and look at Ning Guangyao coldly. "Premier Ning, what's the matter?" Only then did Ning Guangyao shift his attention to Yang Chung. Of course, he knew about Yang Cheng's return to Beijing. After calming down his chaotic emotions, Ning Guangyao smiled and said, "Congratulations on returning to the Yang family. There should be more opportunities to meet in the future. Don't think too highly of yourself. In my opinion, meeting people like you often isn't something worth congratulating," Yang Chung said bluntly. For a moment, the atmosphere of the entire scene was strange and tense. Everyone present felt their hearts beating in their throats. This was simply a direct confrontation between the Yang family and the Ning family. Furthermore, it was the young master of the Yang family who was unceremoniously provoking Ning Guangyao. Although they didn't understand why, everyone tactfully shut their mouths and watched. Ning Guangyao's face darkened at first, but it disappeared in the blink of an eye. He chuckled and said, Looks like Elder Yang has a successor. I've known your father for decades, but I've never heard him say something like that. I don't even know the person you're talking about. Yang Cheng said indifferently. I'm bringing my wife to celebrate Chinese Valentine's Day with us. You guys can continue with your opera. After saying that, Yang Cheng tugged on Lin Ruoshi's hand. Lin Ruoshi came back to her senses and continued to follow him out of the door. Wait, don't be in such a hurry to leave. Ning Guodong's voice sounded from behind. Yang Cheng turned around and saw Ning Guodong with a sinister smile on his face. He was holding a glass of champagne as he walked in front of him. His gaze was like a venomous snake staring at Lin Ruoshi, who had her head lowered. Both of you are VIPs today. No matter what, you have to have a drink before you leave. Besides, my father is here too. The Ning family and the Yang family have been friends for generations, so we have to have a toast no matter what. Otherwise, wouldn't it seem like our Ning family is too unreasonable? As he said that, Ning Guodong asked the waiter to serve the wine and handed it to Ning Guangyao and Yang Cheng. Seeing that Yang Cheng and Lin Ruoshi were unmoved, Ning Guodong pretended to be curious and asked, "What's wrong? Brother Yang was so generous just now. Why do you look like you're going to back down after drinking a glass?" Without waiting for Yang Cheng to pick up the glass, Lin Ruoshi suddenly raised her head and picked up the 2 glasses of wine. She placed one in Yang Cheng's hand and turned her head to look at Ning Guodong coldly. "Let's drink, it's nothing." Yang Cheng looked at Lin Ruoshi in surprise. He didn't know why this woman suddenly pulled herself together. Ning Guangyao glanced at his son with a strange expression, but Ning Guodong didn't respond. When he looked at Lin Ruoshi, he found that the woman didn't have any intention of meeting his eyes. Sighing in his heart, Ning Guangyao still raised his glass and clinked it with Yang Cheng and his wife, as well as Ning Guodong. Just at the moment when they clinked their glasses, Ning Guodong, who seemed as if nothing had happened, suddenly said in a low voice, "Happy Chinese Valentine's Day, sister, brother-in-law." Chapter 952. Bang! The wine glass in Lin Ruoshi's hand fell to the ground almost at the same time as her voice fell. Wine spilled everywhere. The woman's face was as cold as ice. After Ning Guangyao's face revealed a hint of shock, he suddenly turned his head, looked at Ning Guodong's ferocious face, and his eyes widened. Yang Cheng could clearly feel Lin Ruoshi's tears dripping to the ground. He directly threw the wine glass away, hugged Lin Ruoshi into his arms, hugged the back of the woman's head, and comforted her. "It's okay, don't cry." But how could a woman who had received such a sudden stimulation endure it? Soon, Yang Chen's chest was drenched in sweat. Ning Guangyao questioned, "What did you say?" Ning Guodong's eyes were a little red, and his veins were popping out as he met his father's gaze and said, "Why are you guys reacting so strongly? Did I see through something?" The surrounding crowd was in an uproar. Because they didn't dare to get too close, none of them heard Ning Guodong's words. However, seeing the wine glass shatter, and Ning Guangyao seemed to be particularly dissatisfied with Ning Guodong, it was inevitable that the scene was in an uproar. Ning Guangyao's heart skipped a beat, and when he came back to his senses, he knew that it was actually Ning Guodong's test. "How dare you play tricks on me?" Ning Guangyao gritted his teeth as he looked at his only son. Ning Guodong sneered, "If you don't want people to know, then don't do it." "Father, it seems that what I said is right." "Shut up." Ning Guangyao waved his hand and ordered the bodyguards, "Immediately disband the party. Everyone leave through the back door. No one is allowed to take even half a step closer. The Ning family and the Yang family have something to discuss." Because this group of guests were practically all of the younger generation, they naturally obeyed Ning Guangyao's words. With a wave of his hand, they immediately left obediently. As the guests left one after another, the 4 people at the entrance did not show any signs of moving. Ning Guangyao rubbed his forehead and thought for a moment before asking Ning Guodong, "That woman came back to find you, didn't she?" "Which woman?" Ning Guodong sneered. "Your mother, Luo Tsuishan." Ning Guangyao growled. "Ha ha." Ning Guodong laughed and said, "Isn't mother already dead? Dad, you didn't drink and you're already so drunk?" "If she didn't tell you, Then who told you? And she was the one who sent me the letter. Ning Guangyao clenched his fists, trembling. Tell me, where is she? Ning Guodong sneered and said, Dad, why are you so agitated? Wouldn't it be better if Mom was alive? You unfilial son. What do you know? If I ask you, answer immediately. I don't understand. I don't understand. Ning Guodong shouted back. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have been tricked by you like an idiot. Tears of pain. What did you say? Ning Guangyao looked at his son in pain. Ning Guodong looked at Lin Ruoxi, who was leaning against Yang Cheng's embrace. His chest heaved up and down as he said, I didn't believe it at first, but now everything is true. No wonder you wouldn't let me touch this woman no matter what. No wonder you wouldn't even let me think about it. So this woman, you and another woman gave birth to AB asterisk TCH. Shut up. Ning Guangyao was furious. Yang Cheng raised his head and looked at Ning Guodong coldly. Am I wrong? No wonder you pointed a gun at me. I thought it was because of an outsider woman. It turned out to be because of your own daughter. Ning Guodong smiled bitterly. Since you see her so important, why don't you acknowledge her? Is it hard to talk about it? Do you think that being the prime minister is so great, so open and above board? Are you done? Not finished. Ning Guodong pointed at his chest. In your eyes, what am I, your son? Why do I have to bear all the pain? For the first time in more than 10 years, I yearn for a woman so much, but after torturing me to the point of pain, you tell me that it's not because she has a husband, but because she is my sister? Pa! A loud slap. Ning Guangyao slapped his son hard and said coldly, I didn't hear anything. You better forget everything. Ning Guodong looked at him fiercely and sneered with a twisted face. You hit me again. Why don't you kill me? Anyway, now that you have a daughter who can inherit the family business for you, you might as well merge the Ning family and the Yang family. Isn't she already married to the bastard of the Yang family? A bastard marrying a bastard. What a good match. You're courting death. Yang Cheng didn't want to listen anymore. He raised his leg and kicked Ning Guodong's side. Bang! A heavy blow. Ning Guodong couldn't dodge at all. He rolled a few times and fell to the ground more than 10 meters away. Ning Guodong howled in pain. The arm that was kicked had completely broken bones. The surrounding bodyguards immediately tensed up and surrounded Yang Cheng. Yang Cheng, stop. Although Ning Guangyao had slapped his son, how could he watch as Ning Guodong was seriously injured by Yang Cheng? Stop. I'm using my feet, Yang Cheng said calmly. Ning Guangyao gritted his teeth, but didn't know what to say. Lin Ruoxi got up from Yang Cheng's arms and wiped the corner of her eyes. She turned around and looked at Ning Guodong, who was howling in pain. A trace of sadness flashed in her eyes. Forget it, let's go. Lin Ruoxi pulled on Yang Cheng's sleeve. Yang Cheng let out a heavy sigh and nodded. Just as he was about to turn around and leave, Ning Guodong struggled to stand up. His eyes were filled with hatred as he roared. Ning Guangyao, are you still the prime minister? Are you even worthy of being the head of the Ning family? Your son's hand was broken by that bastard Yang, but you didn't even dare to fart there. You're a good-for-nothing. Ning Guangyao was so angry that he gritted his teeth and his face darkened. You unfilial son, shut up. Don't you see who's pleading for you? Pleading for me? Why do I need that whore to plead for me? She's the bitch that you and Shui Zijing gave birth to. Even if half of the blood in her body is the same as mine, even if she's my sister, I'll still F***CK her next time. Ha ha. Ning Guodong, who was shouting like a madman, seemed to have let go of everything and laughed wildly on the spot. Just as Ning Guangyao was enraged, an earth-shattering aura of death swept in from outside the door. Yang Cheng's figure was like a monster immersed in the shadow of a huge demon. The moment he slowly turned around, one could even see the tragedy of Shura hell in his eyes. It seems like you're tired of living. Do you really think that I don't dare to kill you? Lin Ruoxi, who was originally enduring the heart-wrenching pain, felt that something was wrong. When she turned around to look at Yang Cheng, the woman was stunned. Ning Guangyao cried out in his heart, but it was already too late. Yang Cheng crazily teleported, and in the blink of an eye, he had already grabbed Ning Guodong's neck with one hand and pulled him up from the ground. After grabbing him high up, Ning Guodong was like a grasshopper, his legs flailing wildly, but he had no strength left. Yang Cheng looked at the crazed man, who looked like a puppet that could be crushed at any moment. He turned to look at Ning Guangyao and sneered. All of you deserve to die. At that moment, Ning Guodong finally realized the mistake he had made. He could clearly feel the killing intent coming from Yang Cheng's body. It was not a threat at all. No. The moment when Yang Cheng was about to exert force, Lin Ruoxi screamed out, "Don't kill anyone." Lin Ruoxi shook her head vigorously, tears flowing down her cheeks. No. Yang Cheng's movements paused, and he looked at Lin Ruoxi stiffly. As for Ning Guodong, he was trying his best to catch his breath, his eyes filled with hysterical fear. Ning Guangyao's heart was at ease, as if he had grasped a life-saving straw. He turned to Lin Ruoxi and squeezed out a smile. He pleaded, "Yes, Ruoxi, please persuade Yang Cheng. This is for his own good. This unfilial son is just temporarily confused. He is not a threat to you at all. Moreover, Guodong is the only son of our Ning family." Ruoxi quickly talked to Yang Cheng. Lin Ruoxi turned her head sadly and looked at Ning Guangyao's anxious face. She smiled sadly. "You just call my name?" Ning Guangyao was stunned. Suddenly, a strong sense of guilt swept through his heart. Yes, he called Lin Ruoxi's name. Before that, it had always been General Lin who cut it. "Miss Lin." In order to save a son who tried to rape his own sister, he called his own daughter's name that he had always been unwilling to admit. It was just a name. Yang Cheng's eyes were burning with anger. "Now that things have come to this, you want to beg my woman. Do you think it's useful?" But Lin Ruoxi suddenly turned her head and said, "Let him go." Yang Cheng was stunned. He looked at the woman in disbelief. What did you say, hubby?" Lin Ruoxi looked at Yang Cheng pleadingly. This is the last time. This is the last time I beg you. Don't kill him, okay? If there is a next time, I will never stop you." "Next time? Didn't you hear what he said just now? What did he call us just now?" Yang Cheng couldn't help raising his voice. Lin Ruoxi sobbed a few times. She looked at Ning Guangyao, who was full of hope. As if she had made up her mind, the woman said with difficulty, "If you kill him today, I will never forgive you for today." Chapter 953. For a moment, the entire hall seemed to be dead silent. It was as if the violent aura that had just been like a mountain torrent and tsunami had returned to calmness in an instant. It had come and gone quickly. After a moment of stagnation, Yang Cheng's hand subconsciously loosened, allowing Ning Guodong to fall to the ground. Ning Guodong had escaped from the calamity. He coughed violently and crawled towards Ning Guangyao in deep fear. Yang Cheng's eyes were filled with darkness and abyss-like pain. Then, a bitter and painful smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. "Lin Ruoxi, you're actually threatening me for this bastard? Threatening your husband?" Lin Ruoxi was filled with guilt and could not bear it. She begged in a low, hoarse voice, "No, I know it's very unfair to you, but this is the last time. Okay." The gazes of the two of them intersected in the short span of a dozen meters. A few seconds seemed as long as dozens of centuries. At this moment, countless complicated emotions lingered around the two of them like a nightmare. Yang Cheng's face revealed a trace of inexplicable vicissitudes of life. "All right, I won't kill him." With these words, Ning Guodong, who was crawling on the ground, and Ning Guangyao, who was covered in cold sweat, finally heaved a sigh of relief. As for Lin Ruoxi, she covered her mouth with incomparable guilt and sadness. Her eyes were filled with guilt towards Yang Cheng. But at this moment, Yang Cheng's eyes flashed with a hint of viciousness. His figure rushed forward and suddenly kicked at Ning Guodong's crotch. Oh! A heart-wrenching scream resounded throughout the entire hall. Once again, everyone was numb on the spot. Ning Guodong had already fainted from the pain, and a pool of liquid was clearly flowing out of his crotch. "Guodong!" Ning Guangyao screamed and rushed forward. He picked up Ning Guodong and shook him hard, but Ning Guodong just rolled his eyes and didn't react at all. Lin Ruoshi was stunned as she looked at the expressionless Yang Cheng. I won't kill him, but that doesn't mean I won't make him pay, Yang Cheng said coldly and walked past Ning Guangyao. Arriving in front of the wooden Lin Ruoshi, Yang Cheng said in a low voice, Do you want to stay, or come with me? Lin Ruoshi raised her head and gulped. Why, stay or go? Yang Cheng asked again. Lin Ruoshi looked at Ning Guangyao, who was hugging his son and crying. After a deep sense of loss, she took a deep breath and reached out her hand to hold Yang Cheng's arm. Let's go. Only then did Yang Cheng's gaze soften a little. He brought the woman and walked out of the hall. Although the bodyguards were incomparably hostile, they didn't dare to go forward. After all, they knew that it would be useless even if they went forward. Instead, they would be reprimanded by the premier. Just as Yang Cheng and Lin Ruoshi walked a short distance, Ning Guangyao suddenly turned around and shouted, Yang Cheng, if anything happens to my son, I will definitely not let you off. Ning Guangyao's eyes were bloodshot, like a beast choosing a person to devour. He had always been gentle and refined. When he finally realized that his only son might be crippled, the wildness in his heart exploded. Yang Cheng turned a deaf ear to him and brought Lin Ruoshi back to the car. After silently starting the car, Yang Cheng drove back to the Yang family as if nothing had happened. Lin Ruoshi sat on the side, tightly gripping the hem of her skirt. From time to time, she would glance at the expressionless man, her eyes filled with worry. Are you still angry at me? Lin Ruoshi asked faintly. Yang Cheng said indifferently. No, there is clearly one, Lin Ruoshi whispered. Can't we just forget about today's matter? We won't see them again. Yang Cheng said without changing his tone, Don't think too much about it. No. Lin Ruoshi shook her head and said, You lied to me. You must be restraining yourself right now. If you want to get angry at me, feel free to vent. I can take it. Yang Cheng unknowingly stepped on the accelerator and the roar of the car's engine became louder. Why would I get angry at you? You didn't do anything wrong. Yang Cheng said in a low voice. Lin Ruoshi bit her lips. She had no choice but to keep quiet. Half an hour later, the two of them arrived at the Yang family. Yang Gongming was already waiting in the backyard. Guo Shuhua was drinking tea with her father-in-law, while Yin San Yang was standing by the side with a smile on her face. Guo Shuhua was the first to wake up when she saw the young couple, one with a sour expression and the other with a gloomy expression. What's wrong, son? What's with your and Ruoshi's expressions? Guo Shuhua asked curiously. Yang Chen's lips curled into a smile. It's fine. It's just a little boring. Yang Gongming looked at him and smiled. It seems like the two of you are having an argument. Lin Ruoshi lowered her head nervously and did not dare to speak. Old man, instead of worrying about this, why don't you think about how to deal with the Ning family? Ning Guodong has become a eunuch because of me. If I'm not mistaken, he will completely break ties with the Ning family. If you can't solve it, I will. I will take responsibility for what I've done. After that, Yang Cheng walked back to his room without looking back. What? Guo Shuhua exclaimed. Yang Cheng, what did you do? You silly child. Even if you want to throw a tantrum, you should have a limit. Explain yourself. Yang Gongming knocked on the table. Guo Shuhua immediately shut up. She smiled awkwardly and sat down, but she still looked anxious. Then, Yang Gongming looked at Lin Ruoshi, who was still standing in front of him, and asked with a smile, Ruoshi, tell me what happened. Lin Ruoshi raised her head, her eyes filled with tears. I'm sorry. Grandpa, Lin Ruoshi sobbed. It's all my fault. Yang Cheng is angry at me. Crying won't solve the problem. Calm down and tell me the whole story, Yang Gongming said calmly. As if influenced by the old man, Lin Ruoshi nodded and restrained her complicated emotions in a short period of time. Then, she told him what happened before and after the party. After listening, Yang Gongming's face was calm, as if he wouldn't panic even if he poked a hole in the sky. Guo Shuhua was very anxious. Dad, what should we do? Ning Guangyao isn't a rabbit. He's a sleeping tiger and wolf. If Ning Guodong is really crippled, then the Ning family will definitely go against us. After all, she had a good relationship with Ning Guangyao when they were young, So Guoshua knew Ning Guangyao's nature very well. Yang Gongming thought for a while. Then he raised his head and said to Lin Ruoshi, Ruoshi, go back to your room and accompany Yang Cheng. Don't worry about this. But Grandpa won't blame you. You didn't do anything wrong. No one did anything wrong. This is life, Yang Gongming said with a smile. Lin Ruoshi was stunned for a moment. She finally nodded and walked towards the direction of the room with light steps. After Lin Ruoshi left, Guo Shuahua lamented, Ning Guangyao really has a heart of stone. Why is our Ruoshi inferior to others? Why doesn't he acknowledge her as his daughter? I wish she was my own daughter. Yang Gongming said, what are you talking about? You want your own daughter to marry your own son? Guo Shuahua Shanshan smiled. Dad, you know that I'm just making an example. Yang Gongming glanced at her, then knocked on the table and said, I already knew that Ruoshi was the descendant of the Ning family. I'm afraid that the two old fellows from the Li family and Tang family just kept quiet about it. This matter had been hidden for so many years, and very few people knew about it. As long as Ning Guangyao didn't admit it, it was useless no matter who said it. Therefore, it was understandable that Ning Guangyao didn't want to admit it. His Ning family. There were many talents, and he wasn't the only one who could be the head of the family. If he ruined his reputation because he had an illegitimate daughter, then everything he had would be for naught. Guo Shuahua nodded. That's true. Men aren't good people. Is power that important? That position, isn't it for you to sit in for these few years? After a few years, it will be your turn. But children, they're your own flesh and blood. If it was in ancient times when you died, you would have to rely on your child to carry your head into the coffin. She was naturally complaining about the two men, Yang Pujuan and Ning Guangyao. However, as soon as she finished speaking, she felt that Yang Gongming was looking at her in displeasure. Dad, of course I'm not talking about you, Guo Shuahua said with an embarrassed smile. Yang Gongming was a little helpless at his daughter-in-law's blabbering. I really hope that you can be like before, doing your charity all over the country. When you come back home and let you serve this old man, I'll be angered by you several times a day. Guo Shuahua shrunk her head in shame. In front of the old man, she was still a child, even though she was a mother. Yang Gongming sighed deeply and said, Ning Guangyao is someone who won't act rashly unless he's fully confident. This is his strength, but also his weakness. Since Yang Cheng has already fallen out with him, we can only deal with it as it comes. As he spoke, Yang Gongming turned to Yin Sanyang and said, Sanyang, cut off all the projects that the Yang family and the Ning family are collaborating on. From today onwards, tell the public that I'm not seeing any guests. Yin Sanyang nodded and said, Master, do you want me to send someone to keep an eye on the Ning family's movements? Yang Gongming waved his hand. Now that things have come to this, two tigers cannot live on the same mountain. There are only two possibilities in the future. The Ning family will give in, or they will fight to the death. As for the latter, it will depend on Yang Cheng's capabilities. As an old man, I can only try my best to buy him some time and see how far he can go. Yin Sanyang nodded slowly, an indescribable sense of anticipation in her eyes. Chapter 954. Under the curtain of night, Lin Ruoshi, who had returned to her room, carefully stepped through the door. The light in the room was a little dim. Yang Cheng only turned on a bedside lamp and sat on the wide bed. His figure seemed to have sunk into the shadows. Yang Cheng didn't seem to feel anything when Lin Ruoshi entered the room. He didn't move at all. Lin Ruoshi felt a wave of heartache and sourness. She tried her best to squeeze out a gentle smile and asked softly, Hubby, do you want me to make you a cup of tea? Yang Cheng didn't move and continued to sit there. Lin Ruoshi nimbly walked to Yang Cheng's side and sat down. How about I help you get some hot water and take a bath? I saw that the servants have prepared bath salts or something. Take a hot bath and relax. Maybe you'll feel much better. Yang Cheng took a deep breath and laughed self-deprecatingly. You don't have to deliberately please me. This is something I often do to you. I don't need it myself. Lin Ruoshi tried her best to smile and said, I didn't do it on purpose. Isn't this what I should do? Yang Cheng suddenly stood up and looked down at the woman, saying, What should you do? In my opinion, What you should do the most is to let me kill Ning Guodong. Lin Ruoshi said mournfully, "You really are still angry at me." "I'm angry at you? No, I'm angry at myself." Yang Cheng said, "I'm angry at myself. Why did I listen to you just now? Last time in your office, I already let Ning Guodong go once, and now I let him go again because of your words. I know that I'm leaving a future problem for myself, and I know the principle of cutting the weeds and eliminating the roots, but I'm still doing such a stupid thing. I don't even know if I'm a pig's brain or too cheap. I'm the idiot that I should hate and loathe the most." After saying that angrily, Yang Cheng turned around and walked into the bathroom. Bam! The door was slammed shut. Lin Ruoshi's delicate body couldn't help but tremble, and 2 streams of tears involuntarily rolled down her cheeks. Yang Cheng, who had entered the bathroom, immediately took off his clothes, took off his body, and turned on the shower head. The water gushed down, crashing against his strong physique. Facing the water, Yang Chen opened his mouth and closed his eyes, panting heavily. The anger in his heart couldn't be quelled no matter what. Just as he was feeling pain and annoyance, the door of the bathroom was opened. Lin Ruoshi was wearing a long chiffon dress. Her eyes were red, and her face was covered in tears. But the woman just walked into the steamy bathroom with a sullen expression, glaring at the man who was completely naked. Lin Ruofeng didn't seem to care about Yang Chen's condition at all, nor did she care about Yang Chen washing himself under the water. Lin Ruofeng didn't seem to care about Yang Cheng's current situation at all, nor did she care about Yang Cheng's soft hair. In an instant, the gushing water stained Lin Ruoshi's body, drenching her long dress and silky hair. However, Lin Ruoshi didn't care at all. What are you doing?" Yang Cheng actually cowered a little because the situation was too unusual. Lin Ruoshi stared at Yang Cheng with her watery eyes and coldly asked, "What right do you have to treat me like this?" Yang Cheng was stunned. "What do you mean? I humbly beg you to be nicer to you so that you can forgive me. Don't tell me that as a man, you don't even have the heart to accept my apology?" Yang Cheng looked at her with a complicated expression. "If you want to say this, can you wait until I finish taking a shower?" "Now," Lin Ruoshi suddenly said in an incomparably angry voice, "You've been flirting with flowers and grass outside, and how many heart-chilling things have you done? Haven't I forgiven you one by one? Why is it that now that I'm begging you to forgive me, you have to treat me so cruelly? Do you think that I owe you from birth? Or do you think that before I was with you, I should have forgiven you more instead of you being considerate towards me? I'm doing this for you, for our future life. Don't you understand that the father and son of the Ning family can no longer be saved?" Yang Cheng said angrily. "That's why I said this is the last time. The last time, do you understand?" Lin Ruoshi cried out miserably. Yang Cheng looked at the grief-stricken woman, his heart twitching, and he was speechless. Lin Ruoshi's hand brushed her cheek, and her hair was already wet and stuck to her delicate face. "You also have a father. You also have brothers, although you don't recognize them, and they are not good to you. But they are indeed, aren't they?" Lin Ruoshi choked and said, "How many times have you let Yang Lai go? How many times have you let Commander Yang go? If they weren't your brothers, your biological father, would you have given them so many chances? If they weren't related to you by blood, with your temper, would you have let them live until today?" Yang Cheng stood there in a daze, completely speechless. Lin Ruoshi looked at him, full of resentment, and said, "Why is it that now it's my turn, and you want me to resolutely give up all of this? Even if they have many faults, can it be that I only hope for forgiveness this time, and it can't be allowed? Is it so unforgivable? Is it because your blood relatives are your family, and my blood relatives are just strangers to you?" Yang Cheng was silent. His expression was full of gloominess. Lin Ruoshi looked at him somewhat dejectedly and laughed a few times. "It seems that I think too highly of myself. Indeed, you have so many women. Why do you have to suffer from this at my place? You can only cripple a person and not kill him, which is already very considerate of me. How can I hope that you will forgive me? Fine, do whatever you want. Just pretend that I didn't say anything, who told me to not have as much ability as you, can only rely on you to protect me." After saying that, Lin Ruashi turned around and was about to step out of the bathtub. However, because of the water under her feet and the slippery tiles, the woman had just stepped out, and in a moment of carelessness, her body fell down. Right at this moment, Yang Cheng's arms stretched forward, supporting the woman's back and slender waist. Without any explanation, Yang Cheng carried the woman back into the bathtub and pressed her tightly against his body, pressing them together. Lin Ruashi was startled for a moment and was suddenly pulled into his embrace. She was a little dazed. When she raised her head and looked at Yang Cheng, Lin Ruashi discovered that the man was actually smiling strangely at her. Are you trying to laugh at me?" Lin Ruashi awkwardly pretended to be calm and said. However, Yang Cheng glanced down and said with a smile, "It seems that the size has increased." Lin Ruashi was a little puzzled at first, but when she looked down, her cheeks immediately blushed like a ripe peach. It turned out that in the intense conversation just now, the water had already completely soaked the woman's group. The wet chiffon dress directly stuck closely to Lin Ruashi's skin, especially the translucent feeling in front of her chest. It made her pair of perky peaks stand out in an especially proud manner. At this moment, after being hugged tightly by Yang Cheng, not only was his lower abdomen and other parts of his chest squeezed flat, all of them rubbing together with Yang Cheng's body. "Yeah." Lin Ruashi let out a soft moan and turned her head away shyly. This was because there was already a strong response from Yang Cheng's lower body. A hot and thick feeling actually squeezed between her legs, gently trembling on the inside of the soft flesh on her legs. "Say, you can come in at any time, but you have to come when I'm in such an awkward situation. What should I do now? My little brother can't get down." Yang Cheng smiled evilly. Lin Ruashi bit her thin lips and said, "I'm about to go crazy from anger. How can I care about this? You're mad at me? Aren't you the one who's being overbearing?" Yang Chun smiled bitterly. You use cold violence on me. You are abusing women." Lin Ruashi didn't even know what she was saying, so she retorted without any confidence. Yang Chen didn't want to argue with her. This woman would never know how tempting it was to see her wet, faintly discernible naked body with her flushed face. "If you don't go out now, I won't be able to stop myself from doing it here before the wedding." Yang Cheng licked his lips and said, No." When Lin Ruashi heard this, she quickly tiptoed out of the bathtub. Ignoring the water still dripping from her body, she ran out of the bathroom. Only then did Yang Cheng let out a sigh of relief. He lowered his head to look at his furious second brother and smiled bitterly. Endure it for a few more days. At that time, let this woman who can teach us a lesson see what a man is.